Hey y'all, it's CherokeeStarfish, and welcome to the demo for Call of Saregnar. This is a little bit of a departure from what we usually do on the channel. Of course, you know that typically the games that I play are mostly 15 years old or older, but we flex that sometimes because if content like, for example, the 13th Doll kind of goes back to a franchise that isn't actively being published anymore, or we have a fan project that is like, a work of passion that really is a love letter to past games, then I want to demonstrate that those kinds of games are still alive and kicking, that art style, that genre is still wanted, it's still around, has people who are still invested enough in it that new content is coming out, new art is being made, and that is what Call of Saregnar is. It is a love letter to RPGs that I have played here on the channel already, such as Betrayal and Antara, or Might and Magic 6 and 7. You can kind of see the style of the graphics here in the background. I don't know anything about this game other than what I have read on social media and what I have seen from looking at the website. So I'm very excited to find out exactly how this is going to play and to see how well it lives up to the way that I've hyped it up to myself, I suppose. So I'm going to go ahead and get started by taking a look at the options. As you can see, I have already adjusted the volume a little bit. I do not want to turn the music all the way down because the composition and the score so far have been really beautiful, even though all I have heard is just this title menu theme. I really like it. Let's see, controls. Now, you can actually set this to gamepad, and so far the only sort of problem I have noticed in getting the game to run is that I do have a gamepad hooked up for other games, and I had to unplug it because otherwise it has a problem on the title menu here, at least similar to the 13th Doll, where the mouse cursor was doing some really wonky stuff. So it's like you either need to play with a controller or with the keyboard, but not both. So okay, WASD to move, shift to run, left mouse button to interact with things, I is inventory, R is rest, C for cast, J for journal, M for map, Alt for free cursor, quick save is F5, quick load is F9. Oh, I really like that. I love that they put them really far apart because that way you don't accidentally hit one or the other. Especially for me, I use a split keyboard, and that can sometimes cause, I like it, but occasionally with games like, oh, thank you for the resub, Crow. Appreciate that. But, I sometimes that can cause small issues with, Titan Quest, for example, which is coming back after this game. Now, of course, this is new. This game is brand new. Okay, no, gameplay options are still grayed out. That makes sense. Hey, Trance, welcome. Okay, I think that's it. So pretty basic options, but good options. And these keybinds by default are what I would want them to be for this kind of game. And that's good because that is something very small, but it is also something very important. Oh, thank you. So, was that just now? Oh, okay. I've changed things around with stream elements, and so it looked like that was your resub notification, Crow, and that was really delayed on my end. So, yes, you finally get sub badges. You're welcome. And don't worry, bits badges are also on the way. We're doing a lot of things to celebrate 100 followers. Sub badges, bits badges. Of course, the sound alerts panel, which, if you scroll down in the browser, those are going to be down where, the streaming schedule and stuff are at. Okay, so this demo is new. It just dropped a couple weeks ago, right before Christmas. And, it is available on Steam. Obviously, it is free. if you are into it, or if what you see here tonight gets you into it, then be sure to follow and wishlist it over on Steam to support the developer, because this game is made by a team of like 5 people, and there's one guy down here, this fellow in the corner, who is behind the bulk of it, and it is supported largely through donations and through Patreon. So be sure to check out their Patreon page and support them if you are interested in the game. I think if you donate at least $30 through like PayPal or Ko-fi or whatever, then I think that you can get a full title of the game when it comes out. So I'll put a link to where you can get the game on both the Steam page and the official website down in the description on the YouTube video. So if you're watching the YouTube upload, you can scroll down to see where you can find Call of Saregnar for yourself. Let's go ahead and jump in.
It was a late night in the small town of Romar. Hewin, an auspicious student of magic, and Sam, his roguish friend, decided to liven up the dullness of the road by spending the night drinking and gambling at the Yew Tree Inn. After observing the two playing and winning a number of games against the locals, a gambler approached their table and challenged them to a game of Takla. It was then that fortune seemed to abandon them, as the two friends lost most of their money and many valuables playing against the man. Sam was no stranger at cards, and while he had no proof, deep inside he knew his opponent must have been cheating. At that point, the young rogue confronted the gambler, and in the struggle that ensued, an accusing card fell from the man's shirt. Realizing that he couldn't bluff his way out of the situation, the gambler felled Sam to the ground, grabbed the pouch of winnings, and dashed towards the exit. In the chaos, Huan tried to stop the retreating gambler, but only managed to trip on his friend and abruptly joined him on the floor. Meanwhile, startled by the shouts in the common room, Dina, the owner of the tavern, dashed in and found the two youngsters lying atop one another, being the object of merriment of a drunken, cackling audience.
Okay. Well, that's a pretty good opening so far. That was a pretty good read on the narration. I like the illustrations here. This font is, you know, like very old-timey in flavor, but it also is very clear and easy to read, which I appreciate. And down here I saw that you could hit escape to skip the narration, so that means that if you have heard this before, maybe you're playing a second time, then obviously you don't have to sit through it, which is going to be handy. So yeah, so far I'm liking this, and this sounds a lot like our boys from Betrayal and Antara, kind of, doesn't it? In fact, we even met a gambler who cheated, and we had to prove it. Ah, and here is what I have been really excited about. Check this out. So they actually took photographs of all of the actors and actresses that are playing these characters in the game, and they've done like some actual motion capture or rotoscoping for these sprites back here. So this looks very much in the flavor of Might and Magic 6, Might and Magic 7, Betrayal in Antara, or Betrayal at Krondor. But of course you can see that they have taken advantage of more modern technology to do what those games were doing, but cranked up to like 10 or 11. Yeah, Dina, I think, is kind of a meme in the Saregnar community, so, little bit of a scary lady, but scary in a good way. What in Ulmaris's name happened here? And where's that bloody gambler? He's yet to pay for his lodging and food. Ah, and this is Hewin. Okay, this is our promising student of magic. Gone. We caught him cheating at cards and he ran away. We tried... Gone? And why didn't you two go after him? Why didn't anyone go after him? The room fell silent as Dina's icy gaze traveled face to face across the room. Propping himself upright, Sam assessed the condition of his bleeding nose by carefully bending it first one way, then the other. Satisfied that it wasn't broken, he looked up at Dina, who stared at him with a mix of disbelief and rage. I was gone for 1 minute, Sam. I know, but he had a third blue lady card hidden within his shirt. I knew he couldn't have been that good of a player. Not even the gamblers of Barumas could have... Enough, Sam. He's gone because of you, and I don't want to hear any excuses. You'll be paying for both, him and yourself. This lady's hard ass. The man took the coins, Sam. Dina, He what? I'm sorry. What can I say? He must have taken our money after he bashed my nose in. I see. Then you either find your money and pay up, or you'll be playing here to cover the expenses. Every night for a week, starting tomorrow. A week? Come on, be reasonable, Dina. I can't be stuck in this hole of a town for a whole week. And where are we gonna sleep? Do we at least get a room to stay in? No, you don't. And since you can't afford staying, I suggest you start looking for the man now. I'm closing for the night. Dina, sweetie, you can't be serious. 'Tis the middle of the night. We'll never find him out there in the dark. Ah, you're right. Here, take these torches. You'll pay for them once you catch the gambler and get your money back. Good night. Okay. Alright, this is a pretty good setup, because I'm already liking that it's establishing these characters. Like, we see the relationship that they have. Obviously, Sam is a regular here. They know each other well enough, you know, for him to call her sweetie, yes. But Dina is an actual legend already. But Dina... Oh, no buts, I don't think, my friend. Oh, I recognize that without even looking. I did get a notification down there in the corner, but that was absolutely a journal noise. We now have a quest. Yew Tree Inn. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Y'all better be ready for a lot of this right here. Just settle in, because I'm going to explore and enjoy everything that this demo has to offer. And so if we go over 2 hours like I normally stream, we just do. So it may come in under 2 hours, maybe over. I'm not sure. It depends on how everything pans out, how much it has to offer. Okay, let's see. All right, so we've got mouse look, which is good, and it's pretty smooth. Now let me take a look here. Oop. I should have known I was being cheated. Never lost that much money in one night. Or ever. Neither did I, Sam. We should have listened to Arthur while we had the chance. 'Twas your royal cousin's fault for buying us drinks in the first place, you know? You're drunk. As I recall, he wanted us all to go to his cellar. You know, the one with wine and dried meats. Well, now all we have are these bland road rations, which I have no desire to eat ever again. Yes, I get the point. Look, there's nothing we can do now but track down that man and recover my money. Our money. Yeah. Then we visit your cousin at that fancy manor home of his. You check out his book on magic tricks, and we finally leave this accursed place. Deal? Damn it, Sam, that book is what got me traveling all the way up here in the first place. If it is truly an ancient book on magic like Arthur claims, it's like finding a damn treasure. I'd lose 10 times the money I lost tonight just for a chance to peek at its pages. Calm down, your magician ship. You'll get your chance. Oh, small typo right there. But first things first. Where do we start our search? That son of a whore could be anywhere by now. I don't know. We should probably find someplace to spend the night or camp out of town. No point in knocking on people's houses in the middle of the night. Well, you're not a real adventurer, are you? Sounds reasonable, but maybe someone's still up and saw something. Your call. Okay, so walking a little ways away from the door triggers that. I'm trying to see. Okay, good. They did what I was hoping, which is things like the trees are indeed a 2-dimensional sprite set against a 3-dimensional world. But on the other hand, look at this. Like, the grass is fully 3D. So they're combining techniques. This is very much like Might and Magic 6 and 7. The well is fully 3D as well. Well, okay, fully 3D. I mean, mostly 3D. But in a good way. Okay, and clicking on it does do something. Hoisting up the bucket that was tied to a thick cord, Sam drank greedily, then washed the road-accumulated grime off his face and hands. While he wouldn't be exactly court-worthy, at least he was somewhat presentable now. Yeah, absolutely. The shaders on this, I mean, this looks great. This looks great. Look at the lighting effects. The way that the torch there, or the lantern, is interacting with the sign and stuff. See that? Alright, so let's see here. I'm going to go into Precursor Mode, and what have we got? Okay, so we get a highlight when we hover over things with which we can interact. Oh, not only in the menu, but also out in the world. Because, see, the well lights up. Interesting. Okay, it has to be stuff within clicking range, presumably, because I am not getting... Okay, and we don't have turn buttons, so like a lot of times in games like this, Q and E would turn you in place. You have to use the mouse to turn because you strafe with A and D. So, let's see down here. Here's our map. Ooh, I like the textures. I like this. Very velvety. Tertanon Temple. Tertanon. And this is Romar. That's the village where we are. I'm assuming the white is a road, blue is rivers, of course. So, yeah, I looked over the key bindings at the beginning, and no, there are not. It is just WASD to move. Wolf Hall, ban. Okay, I cannot scroll the map with the mouse or with the movement keys. So, I can't see anywhere else, and I don't know if that's because they just don't have that function at all, or if it's because this is a demo and maybe it's not in here yet. Because presumably we're not going to go all the way to like Wolf Hall or Ban. Okay, here's our journal. Romar, 23rd of Evsalagan. I'm going to... Evazalagan? 12012 TC. Okay, we got cheated at cards. Worst of all, that gambling bastard took all of our winnings and disappeared into the night. Now Dina, the owner of the Yew Tree Inn, wants us to recover the money and pay his expenses on top of ours. 1 Savalon total. What have I got myself into? This was supposed to be an uneventful trip to see the book Arthur acquired, not a manhunt. Okay, so I'm guessing, since he mentioned the book specifically, this is probably Hewin's journal. So, and yes, the map location could potentially be tied to our character position. It may just be we can only see so much based on where we're standing. All right, so you can right-click to close the journal. You can also hit escape, which is good. I like that. Camp. Sam stopped. The Lord will have our ears if we camp here, he said. Let's find a spot outside of town, or better, get ourselves a cozy room in an inn. Okay, so no camping in town. Fair enough. Spellcasting. Ooh. Ooh, what do we have here? Branur, the Father of Life. No spell selected. Oh, okay. There's a lot going on here. I like this interface a lot. This reminds me a lot of Antara and Krondor. Okay, so we have the Branur's Gift. Anga Anmo Isra. I'm assuming those are like the magic words. The caster directs the godly powers towards healing himself or another. Cost is variable. Endurance 34 of 35. And some of these lines are lighting up, but not all of them. Okay, and I cannot select individual, like, symbols or lines. I can just hover over the spell. Okay. So it looks like each spell under a patron deity, I'm guessing, is what these are? Yeah, because we saw the Temple of Tertanon, and here is Tertanon. So... magic, it sounds almost like from a David Eddings book, like the Sapphire Rose. where magic is all clerical. Basically, there is no sorcery. You are channeling the power of the gods in some fashion. So each spell is going to use some of the lines on the god's specific glyph to make a combination that indicates it. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, it looks like so. So we have on Ga, on Mo, Is Ra. So this is on, and it's got two different lines connecting to it. So one is Ga, and the other one is Mo, and then this is like Is and Ra, and that's the line going across. Yeah, this looks really cool. I love this system and this design already. So what have we got over here? So here's Bronwyn, the Father of Life, and it looks like we can click either. Okay, we cannot click on ones that are grayed out, only on ones we have access to. But we can click on them over here or over here. And I love having options in a UI. This UI is great so far. Also, I just noticed this. The compass up there. Very good. Ooh. Oh, I love that transition. That's so simple, but it's so good. Agnosh, Lord of the Day. Okay, so we've got a new sigil. So it looks like maybe each deity or god or spirit or whatever has command over over a certain subset of combinations, because see, like Bronwyn is not using these two at all. Agnosh is using all 8 of the glyphs or words of power or whatever they are, but in different combinations. So like, for example, these two could never touch. And we've got one spell in here, it looks like, which, okay, so we know of it because there's an icon there, but I can't click on it, so it's not learned. So it looks like the only spell that Huan knows is Bronwyn's Gift, which is a healing spell. Okay, so this is fucking sick. Party money. We have 1 silver and 3 copper. The pouch was light. Unfastening the thin leather cord around the small brown bag, Huan counted the petty coins within. There was a total of 1 ocean and 3 leshen inside. Okay, so silver coins are ocean, copper coins are leshen. Oh, and look at this. See that? They're almost like meters, because this stack is lit up part way, and so is this one. So like that's a stack of 3 coins, that's a stack of 1. So you may be able to only carry so much money, or this may be... I bet I know what this is. I'm going to make a prediction. I bet when this stack is full, it translates to the next size coin up. That's my guess. So like it probably takes 10 copper to make 1 silver and 10 silver to make a gold, if there are gold coins. So when you have enough money that this fills up, it will, like, instead of going to 10 of this, when you get 10, it'll turn into 1 of these. All right, and then this over here is going to be our time indicator. Time of day. It is day 23 of Evisalagan, 12:12 or 12:02 TC, 3 hours. Okay, so 3 a.m., I'm assuming, probably. And finally, we got to check out our party down here. Okay, so here's Huan. We do not have a paper doll, but we have a stand-in for a paper doll. We have an equipment screen. So health, 40. Endurance, 34, 35. Okay, so that wasn't the spell cost on Bronwyn's Gift. It was actually showing that he's got 34 of 35 endurance. So that's showing our current endurance in the spellcasting menu, to give us an idea of whether we can afford to cast the spell we're looking at. Sam has 42 of 45, so that's probably reflecting that they just got into a bit of a fight. If this is anything like Krondor or Antara, then probably you lose endurance. Like, this is stamina, and this is actual, like, vitality, and you use and lose this before this, including to cast spells, because I'm not seeing a mana meter. So speed 4, Sam has speed 5, so I'm guessing higher is probably better. He's faster. Hewen is 13 strength, Sam is 17. And this looks very much like Antara because their strength was just sort of an overall measure. It's kind of like your level, sort of. A rough total conglomerate of all of this. And these skills seem pretty familiar. We've got melee, 36%. No ranged because he's got magic instead, 35. 27% defense. 28% stealth, 13 scout, 13 repair, 36 haggle, 19 artifice, and 16 perform, and 7% drunk. Okay. All right. I love this is it looks like there's room down here for more than one, so this is probably where you have any ongoing status conditions or ailments. Okay, so Sam is tougher than Hewen. Faster, stronger, healthier, harder, better, faster, stronger. He's got more... Oh, he's got less melee, actually. But he has more ranged. And these are throwing knives, I bet. He has no magic, so he's not a caster. 23 defense versus Hewen's 27. He's less stealthy at 16. Scout is 18, so he's better at that. Better at repair, worse at haggle, worse at artifice, better at perform, and 22% drunk. Okay. And this is what each of them are carrying because this is different for each of them. So Hewen has a simple staff. I right-clicked on it to get this menu. Hewen held the staff made of ash, even though it was neither straight nor smooth. It felt solid in the wielder's hands, and he was sure he could crack some heads with it if the need arised. So another small typo, that should be arose. Damage is 4 plus strength. Accuracy is 8 plus skill. Okay, I like that that is laid out for you very clearly. So this gives you a very clear idea of how hard you're going to hit and how accurate you're going to be, plus your skill. So 14 plus strength. With 13 strength, he's going to be dealing 17 damage. Accuracy is going to be 8 plus 36, so 44. And then we've got some traveler's rations. Unwrapping the small waxed paper parcel, Hewen found an assortment of dried fruits, salted pork and fish, and hardtack, a long-lasting bread made of flour, very little water, and salt. As Max Miller from Tasting History on YouTube has trained me so that now whenever I hear or read the term hardtack, I hear the little tap tap like that he inserts in his videos from where he made hardtack on the channel, and he always cuts back to it as a running joke. It's very funny. Now I can't not think of it. A simple affair, the torch was commonly used as a light source in the open. It burned rather quickly, but was pretty inexpensive to manufacture, and thus readily available and cheap. I'm guessing that's what this is. Artifice? No. No, because well, maybe. I don't see any other conversational skills besides haggle and perform. I don't see like a diplomacy, a persuade, a deception. Artifice could be deception, because that's another synonym for that, or it could be crafting, which is what I was about to say. I bet this is the crafting skill. I cannot left or right click on any of these to interact with them and get a better idea of what they are or what they do. And I see, it looks down here, we've got like a separate inventory for keys and gems, which will be handy for keeping their backpack clear. And it looks like, yeah, it looks like the backpack is pretty generous. It's a little bit bigger than Betrayal and Antara, which is good because inventory space becomes a problem in those games. So this looks like it's going to be a little bit closer to the backpack size than like Might and Magic 6 and 7, which was generous enough that it wasn't a huge deal. I can live with that. And, okay, his staff. Okay, I see. Because he's just using a melee weapon, he's a caster, he doesn't even have a ranged weapon slot, which is what this is. Sam's got 2 slots. And you can see the durability, too. The condition of his falchion is 38%, whereas the staff has infinite durability. So that's similar to Antara, too, and something that is... I don't hate that. The falchion was a heavy affair, thought Sam. He took a couple of test swings, and indeed it was very nose-heavy. This wasn't an accurate weapon, but still capable of doing substantial damage. Yeah, 9 and 6 versus the staff. So it hits harder, but it's not as accurate. Throwing knives, 61%. Sam took a knife out of the holster and admired its craftsmanship. It had a short handle combined with a very long double-sided blade that ran into a very fine tip. He thought that in the right hands, this was a deadly weapon indeed. Are the right hands Sam's, though? And it looks like we don't have ammo, we just have a condition. So whatever our ranged weapon is, we're not going to have to carry ammo for it, at least not daggers. We'll see if we find a bow or a gun or something like that later on. But if we just have condition for ranged weapons and we don't have ammo, that could be an improvement over Antara, because I would rather find like a bow enchanted to deal fire damage with every arrow and treasure that as a single item than to have to maintain a series of different bow upgrades and also keep different kinds of ammo taking up space in my backpack for different kinds of fights and challenges. So hopefully that's what that means, is that you just have to maintain your ranged weapon just like you do your melee weapon, and that's the end of it. Okay, well, I think we've seen all there is to see of the UI and our characters, so let's start exploring. We've got an orchard or garden out here, or, oh, vineyard, I bet. Dina probably makes her own wine. Can we... There is not a jump button, I don't think. Let me double check. Oh, the ambient sound is really good. That is an actual fly. Did you see it right there? It's an actual, like, bug flitted by. Okay, run, interact, casting, yeah. Let me go ahead and save as well. Now, does running drain your stamina, your endurance, I wonder? See, that blue bar down there is going to be endurance. We'll run around a little bit and see. Can't knock there. Oh, a shop of some kind, Hewan said, but it's obviously closed at this hour, he added. Okay, so I missed that. There is an indicator. So just like if you are using Precursor Mode, the hand gets that red outline around it. Check out the crosshairs here. It does light up to let you know if you can interact with something. Ah, so I need to go back and check this door again. A man came from around the back of the house. Obviously startled by bumping into Hewan all of a sudden, he went for the knife at his belt. "Hold!" Hewan yelled, raising his hands to show he was unarmed, then added in a hurry, "We didn't mean to scare you. We're looking for a man that stayed at the inn, a gambler. Bastard took our money." Finally convinced he was not in danger, the man relaxed, but replied angrily, "Can't one take a piss in the night without bumping into someone? Bah, don't matter. Yes, I did see a man running past my house not too long ago." Did you see where he went?" Hewan asked expectantly. "South, out of town. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go back to sleep." Okay, so that is south. Okay, a man in the village apparently saw someone flee south in the night. This must be our man. It must be. It must be our man. Oh, it's getting morning-ish. Okay, so this is... Movement here is more like Antara or Krondor and less like Might and Magic. You cannot go up these slopes at all, and there is not a jump, so there is no three-dimensional movement. Romar. It's a signpost. And I'm seeing... Ooh, new music. Looks like our stamina is going up and down a little bit. It's recovering slightly over time. Good. And it's recovering slowly, but not so slowly that I didn't notice it, which is good. The air smelled of freshly baked pastry. Ewan's knocking was answered by a shushing voice within, and he threw a questioning look at Sam. A few seconds later, another small typo, a rather attractive red-haired lady in her 40s opened the door. Blessings! I haven't seen you around here before. Care to try one of my tarts? I'm Nisa. Been baking all morning. Well, began Hewen, but he was quickly cut off as Nisa shoved a buttered pastry into his mouth. So, delicious, isn't it? She asked. Then she started pulling at Hewen's sleeve, dragging him inside. Come on, don't be shy. Come in, I don't bite. The door closed right into Sam's bewildered face. Time passed, and just as Sam was starting to worry for his friend, the door swooshed open. A blushing Hewen walked out, followed by a rather cheerful Nisa, who stopped at the doorstep. See you again soon, Hewen. I'll have more if you ever stop by again, she said, then winked at Sam and closed the door. Sam's mask of worry slowly faded and turned into a big grin. So, he began. Oh, drop it, Sam. Just, let's go. Okay. Well. The locals are very friendly in this game, in Romar. Sam knocked and waited, and when it was obvious no one was going to open the door, Sam said, let's not waste any more time here. Let's leave. Okay. Running. An elderly man opened the door. I'm sorry. I have something urgent to attend to, but let me give you a little advice, he said. Avoid my neighbor. She's crazy. Having said that, the man bid them goodbye and closed the door. Bade them goodbye. Yeah, honestly, right, Trance? I mean, big same, though. Well, now we have to know who the crazy neighbor is. The air tingled. Hewen halted as he approached the little moss-covered house. I'm not sure we should be here. There is magic about this place, but I don't like how alien it feels. Sam wasn't about to argue, so by the time the door cracked open, he was already a dozen feet away. Don't leave, spoke a frail voice from within. 'Tis a rare opportunity to meet a fellow Osmani these days. She paused, and Hewen felt that tingling sensation again. She continued, even if the old ways seem to be lost on you, doesn't matter. Will you come inside? Hewen was intrigued, but did not move. Of what old ways are you speaking of? He finally asked. Come, let us talk inside, the woman insisted, gesturing them to enter. She opened the door just wide enough to let the boys slip in, then she hurriedly closed it and secured it with a latch. Nope, we're trapped. Too many nosy people out there, you see, all wanting to know too much for their own good. It took a few moments for their eyes to adjust to the dim light of the house, so when the darkness subsided, they found themselves standing in a room stuffed with trinkets of all kinds. Weirdly shaped sticks and bones, stones of different colors and patterns, clay pots, and hanging herbs. A number of rushlights did little to illuminate the gloomy room. It was Hewen who spoke first. You mentioned the Osmani. I don't think I'm familiar with the term. The woman added some twigs to the almost dying fire and poked at the embers until a small flame burst into life. Don't they teach Arnai in Antara anymore? She asked. Hewen replied, They do, and wondered if the strange woman had the power to read minds. He knew the talent existed, but only few mages had it, which made the woman an object of fascination in Hewen's eyes. Doesn't matter. Osmani is an old word for those who practice magic. Did you study at the university too? Hewen ventured, but the woman snorted, shaking her head in reply. I wasn't born in nobility like you were. You seem to know a lot about me. You've been mind-reading. This time the woman laughed, a rich laugh, to which the tiny flame in the fire pit whooshed to life. No, although I admit that would be a nice gift to possess. I simply know who you are, Hewen Teomar, son of Renita. And you, she turned at Sam. She started reaching for his chin, but suddenly retracted her hand as if she got burned. You need to go. Both of you, she spoke. her words devoid of any warmth. She hurried to unlatch the door, but gave Sam a wide berth on her way there. "Out with you," she cried, and the boys flew outside, the door closing behind them with a thud. What happened there? There is a peculiar woman, a witch, living in Romar. She called me Osmani, a magician in the old tongue. She claims she merely knew me, but I'm sure she can read minds, an incredibly rare talent to possess. Surprisingly enough, she threw us out of her house when she reached for Sam. Something up with Sam. Something up with the party Kyle. Anything here? There's a big difference in the sprint speed, which means I'm going to be using it a lot, so I hope that it doesn't drain your stamina. We'll see. As soon as Hewen knocked, the heavy door swung open and a man in his late 50s emerged from the house, his face radiating impatience. Oh, this person actually gets a person. "Well, it's about time. I was beginning to worry you'd lost your way. Sir Halligan is expecting results, and from what I've gathered, you still need to learn which side of the sword does the stabbing. Where's the rest of your group?" Excuse us, but you just must have us confused with somebody else. We are just travelers, and we're hoping you could spare a moment to talk." "Oh, that's a shame. I really thought you'd come for sparring lessons. Well, in that case, what do you want to know?" Ooh, okay, now we have dialogue options. And yeah, a bit, but that might be because, like, I was constrained by fences and stuff, I think. We'll try it out in the open and see if it feels different. "You mentioned sparring lessons. We might be interested to freshen some skills ourselves." "As long as the other group I'm expecting don't show up, I can find the time for you. However, my services do not come for cheap, you must understand. For, let's say, 8 ocean, I can teach your friend there how to handle the sword better. I can even show you a few tricks with the staff. What do you say?" "As intriguing as your offer sounds, how about you tell us who you are and why we should spend that much coin on training with you?" "Fair enough. Name's Hans Sandar. Well, most call me Master Sandar, as I'm known to be a master in my art. I was once a captain in Lord Aaron's army, but now I spend my time tutoring those who want to learn the fine art of swordsmanship." That is remarkable. As I understand, Lord Aaron is the Duke of Quam. I hear the area is anything but peaceful up there. "As you'd come to expect of any border settlement. But more than that, in the last years of my captainship, things were only going for the worst. I wasn't getting any younger. So I asked for an early retirement, but in exchange I agreed to train the king's men when I was asked to." Sounds like you made a fair deal. "Works for me. I keep myself in shape and my old bones away from Quam Keep's drafty walls. Also, I get to spar with many a lord's son, and sometimes even Prince Nicholas himself invites me for a match. So, you interested?" "Well, we definitely are, but we don't have the cash." I must say it sounds really tempting, but we are running a bit short on funds, it seems. Maybe another time. "As you wish. You know where to find me." Oh, well, we'll be on our way. Okay, so we'll have to come back there. Kind of like Antara, we're going to have skill trainers who'll give us, like, free ranks, I guess. The gym teacher of sword masters. I mean, that's not wrong. They knocked and waited. After a few long moments, an old lady opened the door and invited them inside. The lady introduced herself as Marith, and for the better part of an hour they talked, exchanged news and gossip, and Hewen learned that she used to be a cook in the manorial kitchen, and in the years she worked there she got to know his mother very well. Teary-eyed, she also shared that her husband George died just a couple of months prior, and their visit was very welcome, since she had no one to really talk to anymore. At last, when they were done talking, she asked them if they could wait a moment, then disappeared into the kitchen. In a few minutes, Marith emerged from the back carrying 2 small packs, one for each of the boys, and she also pressed a pouch of herbs into Hewen's hand. "Just a bit of honey bread and nuts for the road." "Oh, you needn't have," Hewen said, but Marith dismissed him with a wave. "You two be careful traveling the roads. All manner of low folk prey on travelers these days. May Tertanon watch over you." They promised to be careful, thanked Marith for the gift, and bade her goodbye. Well, that's sweet. We even got our own music. Oh, look at that. Jeez, oh, Pete, she gave us 20 rations. And said a bundle of herbs as well, but I don't see them. We don't have like a medicine or healing skill over there, so that's fine. Cool. See, that's why it pays to explore. I bet this is the Manor House. So we're as clean as we'll ever be apart from taking a bath, Sam said. Let's go. Fair enough. I want to look around, but I'm not going to knock on the door yet because we're supposed to come back here. Huh. Looks like a grand sort of shack, Sam said. Can we ramp this? No. Okay. 0 of 10. Look around and see if there's, any interesting rocks that we should be clicking on or bushes with treasure inside. How fast is time passing? 10 hours. Okay, so it has been 7 hours. Oh, I wonder if the shop's open. Judging by the sign, this is a shop of some kind, Sam said. Care to enter? Absolutely. Let's see what kind of shop. Ooh, animation. Okay, and we've got free cursor movement in here, of course. Are there going to be free items lying around like there were in Antara? Free things for us? Treasure for me? No. Okay. Yeah, not that I see. Nothing to interact with other than the shopkeeper. Welcome, welcome, said the shopkeeper. My name is Fanon Goe, at your service. What would you like to purchase today? Okay, staff, rations, torch. Oh, no, this is to sell. Okay, secondhand shop. So we can buy a short sword, a falchion, and 5 torches in a stack. What's the difference between the falchion 9 and 6? And the short sword is 10 and 9. Oh, so that is a much better weapon. It's in worse condition. But this is at 96%, and at 28%, that is still better. The accuracy especially. But look here. So we can see this is 5 Leshen, 2 Ocean, and 1 Sevalon, I think is what they were called, was a gold piece. So we do have those, and I love that they're color-coded in the shop menu. That's very good. That's a very good little quality of life like thing. Okay, so we can... Oh, good. So we can check time of day. We can see our money at a glance. We can access both characters' inventories, and we can still look at our journal as well while we are in the shop screen. And I like, too, that it's 3D, but it is also just an interface screen. Like, this is a storefront. We can't move around it as a level. Okay. Okay. Alright, well, we've seen the village of Romar, I think. We could potentially go north, but we know we need to go south, so let's do it. Let's see what's outside the village. Another house. The house seemed abandoned. Maybe, or should we have a look? Maybe the previous owners left something of value inside, said Ewan. Save for a broken chair and some pieces of pottery scattered on the floor, the house was remarkably empty. This place was looted clean, said Ewan, kicking at the debris. Sam, however, was kneeling and examining a section of the floor with interest. He slid his fingers along the edge of a wooden board, and as expected, the board gave way. Aha! He exclaimed triumphantly. Lifting the piece of timber, he discovered a small jingly pouch hidden within. Ooh. 41. Okay, so the icon is a stack of cash. But, okay, not 41, it's 4 Leshen. Okay. So do we need to... We can just click here? Oh, okay, no, I see. No? Okay, we do have to drag it to a character, but then it is added to our pouch over on the right. Okay. So that loot button appears almost like a character portrait so that you can navigate between them. Climb some hills. We can't climb any hills, Crow. I wish we could. I don't want to just run through here. I kind of want to take off pell-mell down the road to see how fast we can travel. But, I mean, I want to absorb this beautiful countryside as well. Oh, look at this. What a good waterfall. There's no cave, however. Doesn't seem to be any treasure in it. Specific Pixel would be disappointed. What's this? Oh, okay, the water was refreshing. Sam was glad of the drinking posts the king had erected throughout the kingdom. They were a sign that the water was clean and safe to drink. Nice. Oh, hey, sweetheart. See? He sensed the waterfall and came a-running. Love you too. Okay, look at this. I like that. Alright, so, I wonder if we will need to drink sometimes, or if there are benefits to drinking, or if perhaps poisoned water or befouled water sources, like polluted water, will be a hazard we'll have to keep an eye out for. So we'll have to remember this could be important. We may need to know those and recognize them. We cannot cross the stream. The Ghostbusters would love this game. You can't cross the stream. Hello, rock? No, nothing. This looks great. The countryside just looks really good. They have, like, it might seem funny to some people looking and seeing all of the trees sort of turning to look at you when you're turning in place because of the way that they have rendered the sprites. But from a design perspective, I mean, look up there. I think they have exactly the right number of layers and sprites to make it look like a dense forest, but the game is running as smooth as butter. I mean, I've got kind of a beefy rig, but this seems like it would run well on pretty much any contemporary machine. It's down here. Is this another... How far can we go? We are on this side of the stream. Anything interesting over here? Oh, we found our first treasure chest. Our first feral treasure chest roaming the wild. Okay, I'm going to save it. Let's see. The chest had no visible lock. Examining the tightly sealed iron-bound box, Ewan marveled at its level of craftsmanship, particularly the word lock embedded in the clue plate on the front. Yes! As there seemed to be no way around opening the thing without solving the word lock, he knelt down and began pondering on the riddle. Yes! Alright, okay. This is one of my favorite mechanics from Krondor and Antara, and I love it. I'm so glad they decided to take inspiration from that and do this in Saregnar also. One holds me with prowess, one holds me with fear. That most often than not is a matter of skill. One holds me with prowess, one holds me with fear. That most often than not is a matter of skill. What are our options? Okay, P-E-A-S-P. U-Y-W-N. Okay, so we've got 4 letters in each one. Let's see. The last E is implied, you think? Not Europe, but the invisible silent E. Okay, let's see here. I'm guessing this is probably sword, because one holds me with prowess, one holds me with fear. That most often than not is a matter of skill. Because if you're holding it with prowess, you have the right end of the sword. If you're holding it with fear, probably the business end of the sword is stuck in you, and that's how you're holding it, and the difference is the skill. Not to mention, we also just heard, like, I have that word on the brain because Hans, the sword master, was talking about showing you the right way round to hold it, so... There we go. You could have been beans. Ooh, look at this. Okay, so we've got 9 Leshen and a short sword at 75% condition. So now, awesome, I'm glad we didn't buy one. Not that we could have afforded it. And it automatically closes the window when there's no more loot, too. I like that. Let's see. Can we... No. Okay, so you do have to... Let me double check that. Okay, I for inventory. That's what it is. Okay, there we go. I was going to say, I was thinking maybe if you hit 1 or 2, it would automatically access Hewen or Sam, but it doesn't. You have to hit I. Okay. 9 and 6 versus 10 and 9. So let's go ahead and there we go. Trade those out. Very nice. Glad we came over here. And this is going to... Oh, okay, there's a ford. So it does loop back round. Temple of Terror. Okay, yeah, that is Terror Tanan. I thought for a second that was an I, now that I was seeing it in larger font. Let's check our map. Okay, so we... Yeah, that's not a huge distance map-wise between them. And I think, Trance, you were right, because look here, we've come a little farther west, and now Ban is no longer, like, right on the edge. So let's see. Have this outlying farm. There's the bridge that we did not cross coming this way before, so I'm going to go back up on this side of the stream and see if there is anything of interest near the waterfall. Maybe on this side. Hello? Bush? Rock? Treasure? No? Rude. Yo, I'm so excited. This is so good so far. I mean, I know that I'm just kind of like lollygagging about the wilderness, doing a lot of talking about the graphics and whatever, but also... Oh, I thought that shadow against that tree was a dude. Just a second. But like, it really is a thrill to find that word chest and solve the riddle and get the sword inside and all that kind of stuff. Like, this is really good. This is giving me exactly the vibes that I hoped that it would. This is ticking all of the boxes. So already, like, big props to the devs. Big congrats. It's getting nighttime, so time passes fairly quickly. They knocked and waited. After several minutes passed, Sam leaned to the doorframe to listen if anything was stirring within the house. Another small typo. I can't hear anyone within. Let's just go. Ah. A pond with cattails. Wait. Is that weather effects? In my retro RPG? It's more likely than you think. Ooh. And it looks like I'm seeing some flickering textures when I look straight up, but I can't tell. I'm not sure if that might be intentional. That could be lightning jumping around in the clouds, maybe. Okay, no, it's happening down here too. So, okay, if you look at the skybox, there is some texture flickering. But this is the demo. That is super forgivable. Yeah, this is a good-looking rain effect. Look at that, dappling the ground and stuff. That's very good, and it sounds good as well. The ambient sound in this game is A+ so far. Okay, so there's the ford up there. That must be the temple. And then that is the road continuing on. Yeah, because that's the paved road, so this is departing from the road. So let's go this way. And that means that probably the temple grounds will be a dead end. Is that a tombstone? Tree stump? Ah, here are some graves. Can we read them? Yes, good. Hewin kneeled at the headstone and inspecting the inscription carved next to the strange double moon symbol. The inscription said George of Romar. Placing some wildflowers on the stone, Hewin chanted a short prayer to Alden Heil, so Merith's husband may be at peace up in the snowy halls of the herder god, but also find his way back to his wife on Smirtnivis, the festival of the ancestors, when the time comes. Cool. Smirtnivis, festival of the ancestors. And now we know this, Alden Heil, or Alden Hale, is the herder god. Cool, and that was George. I'm proud of you, Hugh. Always going that extra mile to make things right. Thank you. Marith has been so kind, it's the least I can do. Uh-huh. Let's go, shall we? Who's buried here? This is a really old grave, Sam said. Nothing particular about this one, Hewin observed. Oh, these are really old Yemai stones, Hewin said. A fresh bouquet of flowers rested on the finely chiseled middle slab. Looks like a fairly expensive Yemai. Someone wanted to be extra sure their beloved one stays within the boundaries of the stones. Oh, is that a problem? Or finds the way back? Either way, we should be going. So apparently ghosts and spirits are like a going concern, perhaps. Really old grave. The grave was old. If there ever was a name engraved on the Yemai, it has been washed away by decades. Only a sun-like symbol was visible on the headstone, most likely due to the depth it was chiseled in when it was made. Okay, so most of these are old. And can't go that way, as expected. Fair enough. Let's see here. Yeah, Me too, Trance. I hate when my loved ones don't stay within the boundaries of the stones. Another well. If I find a well, I click on it. That's just, that's having gamer turned on. Okay, and here's the Temple of Tertanon. We've got a door and 2 people we can talk to, it looks like. He was lost in thought. After exchanging a few words with the man, Hewin learned his name was Nomao. Oh, this music has words. This may be the track that I heard from the composer for Call of Saregnar posted on Twitter. I think when he had it finished, or maybe was like post-producing it, he posted a sample. That's very good. After exchanging a few words with the man, Hewin learned his name was Nomao, and that he was a farmer from the outskirts of Romar. He told him that his wife disappeared 2 weeks ago after going to fetch some water from the river. He's been praying to Tertanon since, so she may return safely home again. No one's found any trace of her, he told Hewin. The whole village joined the search. Even Lord Longcoast's dogs couldn't catch her scent. She simply vanished, the man said, bursting into tears. Ooh. Hewin stayed for a while longer, consoling the man as best he knew. Then he excused himself and returned to Sam. His wife vanished. No trace of her anywhere. Maybe she just left him. No, I don't believe that's the case. The whole thing feels wrong. Sam shrugged. Who are you, a priestess, perhaps? The scent was familiar. While it eluded him at first, it took a long moment for Huon to realize that what he smelled was an herb. This is European-produced game, so was a herb he last handled at the University of Magic in Antara. Due to its innumerable curative and mystical properties, the relatively rare Ormanis was sought after by both healers and practitioners of magic, and therefore it often commanded high prices on the market. Huon remembered how in his first year of study, Mage Farron lashed out at him for using the whole plant in an experiment. Snapping out of his reverie, Huon realized he must have been staring at the young woman the whole time. Thankfully, if he was to judge from her expression, she wasn't as much annoyed as she was amused. Please excuse me, I didn't mean to stare, but the bundle of Ormanis you're carrying brought back memories. Are you by chance willing to sell some? I could surely make good use of it in our travels. Ooh, hello, Lin? I'm sorry, but I swore an oath to see it delivered to the priests of Hoalia. But why the interest, if I may ask? A herbalist, perhaps? Can't say I often run into those who would have heard of, let alone know the herb. No, I'm not a herbalist, but I have studied about them in Antara, so I can make use of most if need be. Besides, the unique properties of herbs always fascinated me, so I try to learn of them whenever I can. I see. It's good to meet someone with a keen eye for herbs. If you're in need to purchase some, though, you're welcome to my shop, Nature's Gifts, in Urgenden. My name's Lynn. I'll be sure to give you a fair price if you visit. Thank you for the offer, Lynn. If the road ever takes us to Urgenden, we'll be sure to stop by. Oh, and I'm Huon. It's been a real pleasure meeting you. The pleasure was all mine. Let's ask about Hoalia. Another god, I think? I thought the temple of our luck goddess was far off in Ingaroth. Okay, so Hoalia is the goddess of luck. Are you planning to travel there all by yourself? Surely a courier could safely deliver those herbs in your stead. You'd think that would have been the soundest choice, but it's been weeks since I last saw a courier carriage pass through Urgenden. It's like our little village has suddenly gone off the map. Meanwhile, I pray to the god of travelers for good fortune. I was assured the courier still passes through there, so it shouldn't be long before I return to my shop. Well, goodbye. This is probably how we speak to the priests. Okay, a servant beckoned them to sit. The High Priestess is currently in prayer, so if you would be so kind as to wait, I will let her know of your presence. Time dragged by, especially for Sam, who was now nervously pacing up and down the hall, stopping at the door several times, listening for whatever was happening beyond that boundary into the holy realm that only priests had access to. This is maddening, he said, while descending the few steps into the asment, but as soon as he touched the last step, the large door opened and a tall woman wearing priestly garments stepped through. To those present, she bowed her head, then she smiled at Sam. I am sorry if the wait has caused you any grief. Our god has been restless recently, and relies much on our priestly chants. Huon stood up, and Sam tried to say something, but words eluded him, so he cast his gaze downwards in silence. It was Huon who addressed the holy woman. We apologize, High Priestess. There is no dire need behind our visit. We simply wanted to talk. We can talk, she replied, her eyes lined with weariness. But let us be quick, as I have other matters to attend to. During the session with the priestess of Terratanon, they touched many topics about the god himself, but they also discussed the recent events that have befallen them, including the matter with the gambler. The balance of power is being tipped over. Like I have said before, our god is troubled, and we have received note of similar disruptions from other temples as well, said the priestess gravely. You should be wary on your travels, particularly you, Huon, for I feel you are embarking on a journey much longer than you have planned for. The priestess seemed to contemplate something, then she spoke to Sam. Within you, I can feel a similar disturbance, much alike to the one that has affected our temple home. Oh! Oops. Dang, it accidentally clicked. Well, crud, I really wanted to read the rest of that. I really don't like that woman, Hugh. Feels like she looked right through me. I got goosebumps all over. Yes, I felt it too, but she is a high priestess after all. Those close to the gods often possess special talents. Yeah, talents to make one shit his pants. Let's go. I don't want to stay here one moment longer. Darn, I don't suppose we can go back, and feeling unwell needs to rest. Darn. Dang. The priestess of Tertanon warned us of some danger on our way, but also scared the shit out of Sam. I never thought I'd see this day coming. Okay, well, fair enough. We didn't miss that much. Yeah, she didn't know what it was, saw danger on the journey, bid them be careful and farewell. Okay, fair enough. Thank you, Trans. And of course, you can always watch on YouTube and pause it. Anything interesting over here? Can't go that way. Got another house. They're certainly asleep at this hour, Hewen said. Let's go. You think so? Here we go. We haven't done this yet. Let's rest. Sam has 4 rations. That number is in red because it's low, apparently. Okay, day 24. 3 hours. Camp until daybreak, healed, or set hour. Okay, good. Shows rainy weather. We've got night and day. Okay, and we can just click a specific hour. We can cold camp or guard shifts. Oh, we have options with tooltips even. Reduces the chance of getting noticed, but slows down healing if you cold camp. Okay, so no fire. Guard shifts. Makes camping safer, but slows down healing. Okay, so both of these cause you to need to rest longer. So this one reduces the chance of encounters, and this maybe reduces the severity of encounters? Or something? And yeah, actually, let's see, how do we split? Can we... Yes, good. Okay, if you shift and drag. Actually, here, let's do this. Do I need... Okay, I was holding shift because that's how you have to do it in some other games. I just did it automatically. You don't have to hold shift. If you just drag an item from one character's inventory onto the portrait of another, it automatically prompts you to split. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Trance. One prevents surprise attack and the other one reduces encounter rate. So, let's see. Let's camp until daybreak. We don't need to worry about healing. There we go. Because chasing that gambler is a quest, right? So he's not going any further down the road than he's already gotten. We might as well explore. Yeah, no transition screen, but that's okay. I don't hate that. That's fine. They were invited into the small house. After explaining they were travelers on their way to Avonmore, Ranamid, the head of the farmer family, offered them a place to sit next to the fire pit. "Oh, we were just about to have breakfast," said his wife, then added, "Tertnon has been generous this year, so food is plentiful. We'll be happy to share." Hewen welcomed the warm food he'd been given, and Sam readily emptied his plate. "It would be nice to hear news from the outside," Ranamid said between one mouthful and the next. "We used to have visitors now and then, but these days they rarely stop to have a chat. Everyone seems to be in a hurry." Hewen spent a good part of the hour recounting what he knew, and whenever the story got too dull to Sam's liking, the light-haired rogue promptly added all sorts of embellishments to the tale. He even sung one of his songs, which amused Sarah, Ranamid's wife, to no end. When they were done, Sarah addressed Sam. "Now, that was quite a tale. Next time you visit Romar, I'd love to hear you sing another one." Sam accepted the compliment with a broad smile, and together with Hewen, they rose and thanked them for the hospitality. As they walked towards the door, Ranamid said, "Oh, small typo, good luck on your travels, boys. If you haven't been to our temple, you should really do so. Perhaps talk to the priestess while you're there." "Thank you, Ranamir." "We spoke to the priestess already," Hewen replied. "And 'twas a most unnerving experience," Sam added, shuddering at the thought of the encounter. Again, they thanked them for their hospitality and left. Yes. That was good. This is just so good so far. And you have free food, so I'm guessing like the food we didn't eat during our rest just now doesn't matter because it's just an interesting looking rock over there because they fed us. So I don't know. We'll have to yeah, I noticed that too. Like he mentioned that since they'd already seen the priestess, like it came up in conversation. And in Antara and Krondor, rations don't go bad, but other food can. So the difference is that other, like fresh food, will heal you faster and restore more stamina than rations will, but rations can't spoil. So, yeah, that shows that's good forethought on the part of the devs. Very good. Okay, another riddle. Let's see. Always round and hollow I am, though sizes and matters I come in many. A children's trinket or a lord's signet. It depends. For rolls I have plenty. Okay, a lord's signet. A ring? Oh, that was already on in. There we go. Yes, good. Okay, so we got more rations. And we can just... Okay, we can split like this, too. When there's a stack of items, you can split it even when looting. Like, you don't split cash because it goes into a shared purse, so it doesn't matter. And yep, I am seeing those fill up like a meter as we get more money. Awesome. Okay, you take 2 and you take 1. You know, there actually, Trance, was an explanation for that in Betrayal and Antara. Whether we'll see an explanation for it in Call of Saregnar, I don't know. Okay, we can't go any further this way. That's fine. So we found the secret that's back here, I think, that we were meant to find. And yeah, that just takes us back around to the farm, Ranamede's farm. Or Ranamir, I'm not sure which spelling's correct because they use both of them like twice. Yeah, like I said, feral treasure chests roaming the wilderness. And it's, yeah, it is very crisp, actually. The audio is just really stand out. The guy doing most of the sound effects or all the sound effects really deserves a pat on the back for this. Big props. But yeah, in Antara, it's one of the few games that I've seen where they actually did make... They went out of their way to offer an explanation for... Ooh, is that a grave? For why there were random treasure chests in the countryside. Strange. A grave outside the temple grounds, Ewan said. Oh, the rain's clearing up. I think, yeah, I see it fading. That fade out for the weather effects is very smooth as well. I like that. I like that. The sound is just very good. A+. The reason in Antara was that there had been like a disturbance and there was an outbreak of plague and people were leaving their homes and fleeing to safer areas, and they were carrying their belongings in the chests. What was that? Did y'all see that shadow? Was there a bird or something? I looked up but didn't catch it. But anyway, they were carrying their belongings in the chests, like basically like suitcases, and then they would go off the road to camp, and bandits would get them, or the plague would take them, and people just left the bodies lie where they were so that they didn't catch the plague. And then they were afraid to go back and pick over the belongings and loot the chests later because they were superstitious about the plague, and they didn't want to catch it from the abandoned treasure chest, so they just left the treasure chests sit where they fell, basically. So... Oh my god, birds aren't real. Old man, if only you knew how funny... Well, I'm assuming since you said that, you do know how funny that is. The door was ajar. Signaling for silence, Hewen crept towards the house and carefully peeked through the gap. The inside was dark and quiet, with pieces of furniture scattered about and nothing of any real value in sight. No one seemed to have been living here for some time. Still, careful not to divulge their presence to whoever might be listening, he slowly pushed the door inward, but the old door protested with a loud groan. There goes our silent approach. Shall we? Hewen offered, opening the door fully. But as soon as he took a step in, a deathly stench invaded his nostrils, and he fought the urge to throw up. Lying in the corner, face down in the ashes of the fire pit, was a man, his clothes bloody and soiled. His back was pierced by an iron rod, probably a fire iron, and 2 of the man's fingers had been cut off and cast into the pit. "Is that our man?" asked Sam, his mouth and nose covered with his sleeve. Hewen nodded. "I think so." Ooh. I wonder why they would know that right away. Is it maybe, am I reading too much into that, or is cutting 2 fingers off maybe a sign of a thief or gambler or something? I wonder if he smells bad because we took like 3 days to find him. Like if we actually just ran after him and found him the same night that Dina sent us out, would the corpse still be fresh, or would he even be alive? Ooh, now I don't know. Now I feel like I have to go back and replay and get here faster to see. At that point, Sam pushed past him and took a closer look at the body. "It is him," he said, "but there's no money on the body whatsoever. Whoever did this picked him clean." Suddenly, the sound of a sword leaving its scabbard came from outside, and a rough male voice announced, "You 2, drop your weapons on the ground and walk out. Slowly." Hewen turned towards the door, taking a step back, and Sam straightened, instinctively going for his weapons. As if making a point, a second sound followed, a crossbow string being drawn and locking. "Let's not make them wait, Hugh," Sam said as he concealed a throwing knife in his sleeve. "Got any fine spell to distract the bolt-firing horse on?" "I do," Hewen replied, a lump forming in his throat. "But I never used it to do harm before. It's forbidden," he added gravely, then closed his eyes in concentration. Oh, our first fight. And it immediately starts with Hewen getting the shit shot out of him. Okay. Oh, but look at this. Oh, interesting. Okay, so, first of all, this looks really good. This looks really good. This is the same animation technique that they were using for, like, you know, the shopkeep and the guest back at the inn who was drinking behind Dina. Okay, I'm loving this. Now, it doesn't seem like I can zoom in or out. The camera angle is fixed. You can see the edge of the roof on the house here, but I can still, even though that's in the shot, I can see the whole battlefield. And I made an assumption earlier that health and endurance were going to be like they were in Antara and Krondor, where you would probably lose endurance first and maybe use that to cast spells and then, you know, only dip into health when it was gone. But we can see Hewen just took a bunch of damage and only his health went down, his stamina was unaffected. That's actually really great because then it's easier to keep track of both of them. This is getting hurt. This is effectively mana. Okay. So it looks like it's Sam's turn first. He is lit up, we can tell, and also his character portrait is lit up and active as well. So what have we got down here? Melee attack, ranged attack, defend, rest, and cast spell. I like this. I like this interface. Okay, so we can see kind of the outline of part of the battlefield we can't reach yet. But what we have here is the ones outlined in white are, that's the maximum movement that we can reach. And it's showing our path, the direction we're going to take, which is something Antara did not do that it should have. So this is a big quality of life improvement that they've made. Yeah, showing the pathing is great, because that way I can move around and, you know, it doesn't look like I can individually control. Wait, can I? Okay, no, not quite. So I thought that I was going to be able to maybe, by highlighting one hex at a time, I could actually passively draw a path and then just click to confirm, but you can't. But you still can see where you're going, which is still useful and still an improvement over Antara. Let's see. Can we? No. No, I'm holding down the left mouse button and it's not letting me draw a path. But yeah, it's just automatically pathing. So, but that's fine. All right, let's get over here and do a melee attack on this guy and see how it goes. Ooh, there's that 17 damage. Huon's turn. Okay, and we also have indicators up here. He cannot cast spells in melee, as we can see. Let's hit this guy with our stick. Oof. Oof. Oh, look at his damage face down there. Okay, okay, good, he missed. And that was a weak hit. Good. Huon can't hardly hit anything. Take him down. There we go. Alright, now we can cast a spell. That's what we wanted. Yeah, that is an interesting design choice. So it's like as it becomes your character's turn, the camera centers on whoever is acting. So we've got some dynamic camera movement, and I don't hate that. Oh, we do know that spell. Agnosh's spell. We just couldn't investigate it because, okay, so you can only check out your spells when they are relevant, I guess. We could check out Bronner's Gift because you can cast it outside of combat. I'm guessing whatever this spell is, which looks like maybe a fire spell, we couldn't access it because you can't cast it outside of combat. Fiery Embrace. Okay, so we have confirmed this is on. And that must be Ku. On Ku. And then Et Mo. Okay, so this one is Mo, and that must be Et. Et Mo and Et Ook is that. On Ku Et Mo Et Ook. Causes the air around the enemy to vibrate so fast that it heats up to the point it burns the target. Cost is variable. Damage is 1.5 times the cost. Let's try a healing spell first. Oh, yes. Okay, so it's like Wizardry or like Betrayal and Antara. When you select a spell, you get to choose how much endurance you're going to spend to cast it. Okay, so that's 30 endurance. Let's try 10. Okay, good, and we've got indicators, like we can't accidentally cast it on an enemy, which is good. So let's cast it on ourselves. Can we? You can also target, so that way if you're close together and you are nervous about which character you're clicking on, you can indeed click on their portrait to target, and you can see it flashing down there because, look here, you have to target the hex that a person is standing in order to get the confirmation. You can't just target their sprite, which honestly is a good design choice. That way it's a lot harder to accidentally hit the wrong person because you have to hit the space they occupy. I like that. So, okay. Heal thyself. Healed for 10. Nice. Let's try a ranged attack. Okay, that didn't work. Oh, and okay. And this guy's still taking up a slot, and we can't even move into that slot, indicating maybe he's not all the way dead, or he could be brought back. So it might be a case of, unlike in Antara, you could get people who have fallen in combat back on their feet. Dare we try this? It looks like it shouldn't need line of sight, so based on the description of the spell, we can probably cast it around Sam. See, how much damage do we want? Let's go with 15 for 10 endurance. Ooh, nice. All right. Sam seems to be a little bit better at melee. Now, here's the big thing. Can we move and also act? No. Okay, moving does take up your turn. Let's rest. Okay, I'm not sure exactly what resting did. I didn't see. Like an indicator of... Okay, so let's try another spell then. Let's go for 15 damage again. Yeah, I was hoping that that's what resting would do. Was restore endurance, but I didn't see if it went up or not. Like, I didn't see an indicator the way that when he restored health, a number floated up. So... Okay, I just didn't see it then. 7 damage, okay, and it looks like he only had 7 health left. Ooh. And there's our bodies like in Antara. Huon stood in silence, staring at the bodies of the fallen. Just moments before, those bandits were trying to kill him, and now they lay motionless at his feet. Do not dwell on it, Hugh. It was either us or them. I know, but still, I feel filthy. We could have, I don't know, negotiated or something. The only thing you'd have negotiated would be a trip to the nearest burial ground, if they'd find our bodies, that is. Now get over here and help me search them. They've got to have our money on them. Okay. Let's check our journal. We found the gambler dead in an old isolated house south of the temple. He must have been killed by the brigands who ambushed us as we were examining the body. I never killed a man before. Sam said not to dwell on it, that it was either us or them. I know he's right, but still, I wish there'd been some other way. Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Ooh, another short sword, although not in as good a condition as the one we have. Give him this food. Oh, and there's our money. 1 Sevalon, 9 Ocean, and 1 Leshen. Let's see how that changes our money over here. Okay, so it shrinks down a little bit to make room for the gold. It just wasn't showing it because we didn't have any. And it looks like the actual indicators for the coins are the same size. It just compressed the space between them, which is pretty good. And it does add together. So all the silver that we found bumped up and gave us another gold piece. So I was right. Awesome. I'm glad to be right about that, because the reason I predicted that is that's how I would have done it based on what I was seeing from the UI. So I'm glad to see that they made that decision. Got more torches. We've got more rations. And we've got a crossbow. And it is only at 17% endurance, but... Okay, 67 and 58. So one shot with our throwing knives cost us 3% durability on this. On the other hand, this was, I think, at 68? Maybe, or something like that, and we hit 4 or 5 times and it only took like 1%. I may be wrong about that. Let's see. And no, Huon has no ranged ability because he's a spellcaster. That's how they did things in Antara and in Krondor, and this game seems to have drawn inspiration from that. So you either have magic or ranged weapons. You don't have both. See, like Sam is not a caster, so he gets ranged weapons. But... Oh. Can he... Oh! Oh, look at this. So when we take this off... Interesting. So he has a sword slot and a throwing knives slot. So he actually cannot use the crossbow because he doesn't know how. His ranged weapons have to be throwing knives. Interesting. And that makes sense too, like why he just has a staff slot. And then we've got body armor, shield, and helmet, I assume is what those are. Okay. Examining the crossbow in his hand, Sam judged it to be a lightweight and not overly powerful weapon. On the positive side, though, it was relatively easy and quick to load, which gave it a certain advantage in combat. Not overly powerful. 17 damage. Accuracy is only 6, but still, that means it does almost twice as much damage as your damn sword, boy. Jeez, oh Pete, I wish he could use it. And the fact that the guy was not carrying any bolts or quarrels for it seems to confirm what I said earlier, which is that you don't have to track ammo in this game. You just have a ranged weapon, and then its condition is going to degrade as you use it, and that is your quote-unquote ammo, in the same way that your melee weapon is also going to degrade. So, okay, cool. And yes, we absolutely are going to go back to Hans, for sure. We're going to go back to Hans, and we are going to get some free melee skill. Okay, so there's the house. This road is continuing south. I'm going to go to the edge here and then... Okay. Ooh. Avonmore Castle. Okay, so I wonder how much we'll be able to travel in this demo. Interesting. And we can, of course, go north from Romar as well. But for now, let's head back towards Romar, because if there is more to explore, then the game is going to send us in that direction. I don't want to go like miles and miles to the south or the north out of our way when the game is going to tell us we have to go back to Romar at some point anyway, and then it's going to send us back the direction we were already exploring. So before we get too far out in the weeds, let's just go ahead and turn in our quest. I'm getting a little bit of pausing as it's loading some stuff in the distance that we can't see, but it's not bad. You'll see those occasional little jerks, maybe, if those are showing for you as well. Okay. There we go. And we visited all of these houses in the shop, of course. Let's actually go and see Hans first. Why not? Because he said it was, what, 8 ocean, I think? Lessons. 8 ocean for the two of you. Still interested? Yes, absolutely. Sounds like a worthwhile investment. When do we start? Please, follow me. If there were any lingering doubts over Hans being a master of swordplay, they were quickly dismissed as he began pointing out the many mistakes in Sam's posture, footwork, and technique. He even taught Hewen how to take advantage of the staff's extended reach, and how important it was to slide the grip along various points on the weapon, depending on the situation. The lessons continued well into the evening, and when they were done, both boys were exhausted and slightly battered, but gained invaluable knowledge and skill. Thank you, Master Sandar. That was most enlightening. Now, if you excuse us, we need some rest. You completely thrashed us back there. Ha! Well, it's obvious you boys don't have much experience in the field. You certainly pick up fast. Practice on what you've learned and you'll make fine fighters one day. Goodbye. Oh, and it gives you a pop-up so you don't have to, like, in Betrayal and Antara, one of the things that I didn't like was that you had to click into your character menu to see what had increased. This just tells you. Oh my god, thank you. Thank you, devs. Thank you so much. You can tell that the devs have played and love the games that they have stated are their sources of inspiration for Saregnar. They have played Antara and Krondor, they have played Might and Magic, and they are doing what they should be doing to update those ideas and bring them forward. So melee went up 10 points, defense went up 10 points for both of them. Wow. Man. Okay. And don't worry, we still have more than a Savalon, so... Savalon? So we can pay Dina. Okay. There's Dina. There's this guy. So we can click on each of them. Yeah, that is 2 different hitboxes. Ooh! And we can also play a lute. The man motioned for them to sit. So, he said, name's Naban. I take care of the Lord's vines and the eels. You're not from around here, he said, matter of fact. No, we're just passing through, Hewen replied. Ah, travelers. Well, can't give you much advice since I rarely venture outside Romar, but I'd be sure to pay close attention to what I eat on the road. Rations, no matter how well prepared, can go bad, you know? Oh, so that answers your question, Trance. Maybe rations do go bad. They went on for a while about various subjects, but at last they thanked the man for the advice and bade him farewell. Hewin approached the table. The man looked up from his food and said, "Blessings to you. Usually I'd be up for a game of cards, but I'll just have some peace and quiet today." Okay, so that might be how in Antara there is a gambler that you can play with to earn money and stuff at pretty much every tavern. So that might be our resident gambler, and that just hasn't been implemented yet in the demo, is my guess. The soldier was drunk. "So, brother, you wouldn't have a few coins on you, would you?" asked the man, his gaze pointing somewhat towards Hewin. Began Hewin, but Sam interjected, "He doesn't, my good man." "Oh," was all the soldier said, and returned to his ale. Oh. Oh gosh. Doesn't sound like he's struggling. That sounds pretty good, actually. He struggled. Despite Sam's best efforts to translate the song that sounded so right in his head onto the delicate instrument, he knew he did rather poorly. "You're lucky that patrons are in high spirits and demand I pay you." The innkeeper grimaced as she produced 2 ocean and 3 leshen and passed it to Sam. Okay, so it looks like whoever has your highest perform skill just automatically plays, and then you can earn a little money. Nice. "Unless you have the money you owe me, Sam, you better walk right out. It's 1 savalon and not a leshen less." "How about I give you the money I owe you, and on top of that, I tell you a little story of how we got it." "Are you serious?" "Huh. Truth to tell, I didn't expect to ever see you again. Was it much trouble finding the gambler?" "Let's just say it got troublesome after we found him. He holed himself up in an old house down south outside the village, but apparently we weren't the only ones looking for him. Anyways, care to buy us a round of ale, Dina? I'll be hard-pressed to finish the tale if I don't lubricate my tongue first." "All right, but this better be good." Hewin sat in amazement throughout the recount. There were no lies to Sam's words, but the way he told the tale made it feel like a completely different, much more heroic deed than the slaughter it actually was. Sam made sure to speak loud enough for all to hear and appreciate what he had to tell. If there was anything dull to the account, he found a way to make it exciting, and when the story hit the high points, he elevated it to court-worthy poetry. When he was finally done, he drained his cup and slammed it on the table, making the patrons who followed the tale jump in their seats. Dina sat speechless, her lips parted in awe. I find it hard to believe you two did what you did, but I'd be glad to listen to that tale again." "Some other time, dear. Me and you have urgent business to attend at his cousin's. I promise you I'll have more adventures to share next time I pass through these lovely parts." "Thanks for the ale, Dina." "Think nothing of it, Hewin. And Sam, do come by again, all right?" "I promised, didn't I?" "Okay, cool. What kind of food we got?" "Oh, we might use some food or something to drink." "Of course. Let me show you what I have. Here we go. Traveler's rations, torch. We got 2 kinds of ale. Thornole ale. Sam knew that Thornole ale was as fine as an ale could get. Loved in all Valenhart, this was a particularly strong dark ale, very aromatic with a deep taste of dry herbs, plum, and nuts. The Thornole brewers knew their business. I like that they have slightly different icons too. You can see the color of the ale, but you can also see like that's what they put in it. The Zelnon ale. Hewin sniffed the spicy reddish ale from the Southlands. It was a mildly strong ale with a sharp, bitter taste. Due to high import duties, the ale demanded high prices within the kingdom. So 6 leshen for that versus 3 for that. Okay. Yeah, I saw that. When Dina says it's out, then it'll be out. Okay, what about rooms? Dina, do you have a room for us? Let me check. Here we go. Only have one room left, the innkeeper said. For 5 ocean, it's yours for the night. What do you say? That's pretty stiff, but we are hurt. Let's do it. Let's treat ourselves. See you around, Dina. We must be on our way. Safe travels to both of you. Okay. There we go. We paid our and the gambler's debt to Dina. Now I can finally go and talk to Arthur about that book. Yeah, we stand Dina. Okay, so it looks to me, because our stamina, or our endurance rather, regenerates over time, that maybe, given how expensive it was, at least in context of how much money we have right now, a better bet when we are in a safe area might be to cast a healing spell to recover our health, and then just let our endurance regenerate, because it comes back much quicker. Okay, so he's got 9 health. He's missing 11. So let's see here. 9 health. Maybe, is it 1 to 1? Let's spend 9 endurance. And okay, that looks like that got him. So now let's spend the same. And I think, yep, okay, so it's 1 to 1. You recover 1 health for each endurance spent. Well, that's simple enough. So now we just need to spend 2 more. There we go. Back to full health. Should have done that before I rested, since it looks like with a good night's rest, especially in an inn room, your endurance is going to recover to full regardless, but maybe not your health. Okay, no one's answering there. This is the Manor House, though, right? So, this is where the generously full cellar is. Yes. Too bad we don't have time to see it, since you're in such a hurry to leave town. You can't just leave town on an empty stomach, and as I've heard, noble courtesy dictates to treat your guests well. Oh, he looks so happy. And there's Arthur. I knew I wasn't just hearing things. Father said it was the dog barking, but I recognize a rascal when I hear one. You're offending me, my lord. It's good to see you again, cousin. You won't believe what happened since the night at the inn. Did you find the gambler? You know about the gambler? It's a small town. News travels fast. Also, Dina's been asking if I've seen you two. Although she won't admit it, she's been feeling a little guilty for chasing you out in the middle of the night. Oh, is that so? Just don't go telling her I told you. You know how she is. Noble or not, she'll have my head on a spit if she learns I've opened my mouth. Don't worry, we never heard anything from you. I can't vouch for him, but I'll keep quiet. Anyway, we did find the man. He lies dead in an old isolated house south of the temple. I like that they have slightly different frames to give the characters a little bit of life in conversation, because otherwise this is just a still image. It's of a real person in costume, which is great, versus the drawings that they had in Antara. But it is still a still image and not an animation. So having those little, like, even 1 or 2 little frame changes to have slightly different expressions and stuff is a great choice. So, you killed him? No. But we killed those who did. The 2 bandits who skewered the gambler ambushed us. I'm sure one of the gods must have been looking after us, or we'd be dead in their stead. Is that so? Well, I'm glad to see you 2 alive and well. So you're telling me that I've got 3 bodies to bury now? Well, next time we plan on leaving bodies on our way, we'll bring shovels. I'm sure you will. Come, you can give me the details over a cup of wine. After that, Hewitt, I'm sure you'd be interested to see that book. You are correct. They spent a good hour going over the details of the recent events, Hewen explaining and Sam filling in colorful and mostly unnecessary details. When they were done, Arthur suggested they leave Sam to enjoy the wine, while he and Hewen would go into the study to see the book the young mage was so eager to examine. While Arthur leaned on the fireplace sipping wine, Hewen dug into the complex passages of the tome. He spent well over an hour going through the difficult language, but finally he put down the book and said, "Do you know what this is?" "All I know is that it's written in the old language, but I've never studied it." "All books on magic are written in Arnai, so only those who've been learning magic can understand it and not hurt themselves in the process." Arthur took another sip. "Go on." "The title is Accounts from Cimeris and Beyond. As far as I'm aware, there's only one such copy in existence, and that one resided at the Antara University." Arthur straightened. "But surely there must be more copies out there, right?" Hewen took a deep breath as he closed the large leather-bound volume. "What you have here is a manuscript inked down by Delafon himself. A forbidden manuscript. Too dangerous a book to copy." Well. Arthur, now listen closely. This book can get you into a lot of trouble just for knowing about it, let alone having it. I do not dare taking it onto the road, so as much as it pains me to do so, I must leave it in your custody." "You're just going to leave it? Here?" "I must reach Antara as soon as possible and inform the head mage. They'll send someone to retrieve the book. You must not tell anyone about it. Understood?" Can't say I'm thrilled at the idea, but perhaps you're right. I will hide it in a safe place and await for the mages to pick it up. "Don't worry. I'll explain to them how you got hold of it. They shouldn't bother you. Just keep it safe." "I will." Okay. So now we have a new quest objective. The book Arthur purchased is Delafon's forbidden book. I must go to Antara at once and let the head mage know about it. I can't trust anyone to do it in my stead. Okay. Now where is Antara? Is the problem. I think, were they coming from this way? Yeah, okay, let's go north a little bit because we haven't been this way. Oh, okay. I figured either this area wouldn't be in the demo or it would kind of be like Antara where one of the characters would stop you and say, "No, we need to go the other direction." Unless we want to take an exhaustingly long scenic route around the Samai Mountains, we should just turn around. Besides, it is imperative that I return to Antara as quickly as possible. Okay, so we do need to go south. Alright, well, let's do it then. And on the way, let's stop by the shop here. We'll sell some of this extra loot. Salt. So that must be like a greeting. Salt. Fanon said as he slammed a hand on the counter. "What can I interest you in?" Let's see. We want to sell some of the stuff that we're not using. Let's sell the falchion. Let's haggle. Okay, I can give you 1 ocean and 1 leshen, the shopkeeper offered. Let's haggle. Okay. Alright, let's try this then. We have a couple other things to sell. So Sam was the one who haggled. Let's give this to Hewen, because Hewen's haggle is better. It's 30 versus 28. I want to see if it's based on the character who is doing the selling. Haggle. Okay, it looks like it is. It appears to be whoever is selling the item, you're using their haggle skill. Versus, like back in the inn when we played the loot, it appeared to automatically choose the character who had the highest performing skill. So that means that depending on how your haggle levels up, because in Antara that skill was torturous to level, and in fact it was kind of glitched, I think some people said. So depending how it levels up, it may be wiser to try and focus on having one character who is sort of your merchant character, a la Might and Magic 6 and 7, who does all of the selling for you. Or it may be more efficacious to just sell things with each individual character and not worry about it, and that way everyone's haggle goes up over time, and then you don't need to concern yourself with who is doing the selling. Alright, items don't have weight, they just take up inventory space. Let's keep that crossbow for a while. It doesn't sell for very much anyway. We talked to this guy during the day? No. Okay. Alright. Let's head back south. Can we? No. Okay, that was something I did like about Antara, is that you could go into the map mode and still move. You cannot do that here. I like having a map, but I do like having a visible mini-map or auto-map that is part of the UI. So if we could pop that out and like have it in a corner or something, that would really be wonderful. But I mean, it absolutely does not ruin the game for me if that's not an option, because like I am not a game programmer. I don't know how complicated it is to do that, to have the map that's hidden behind the M key actually be out here on the screen, and or like, you know, something that you can activate in a window. Now, will there be random encounters, or will it be scripted encounters where we can kind of like see enemies ahead of us the way that we can in some of these other games? Checking the wilderness for wild treasure chests. Ooh. Hello, house. There's Avonmore Castle. Okay, so the map is moving with us. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I feel like the best middle ground is, if it's possible, let people turn it on and off as they want. But if you can't activate and deactivate separate UI elements, then you should have it out by default because of accessibility purposes, because a lot of folks are going to get frustrated with or dislike not being able to see where they're going on the map. I'm fine with it because it forces me to like learn my way around. Yeah, it is. The gameplay is stuttering a little bit. Like, it doesn't do that when I'm just walking, but when I run, you can see that it kind of like, okay, see, like just then, it kind of stutters or jerks a little bit. And I'm not 100% sure why it's doing that. When you turn the camera too fast as well. So that could be something in the software conflicting with my hardware, or it could just be because this demo is in an unfinished state and there is something on the back end that they don't have like fully working yet. They knocked and waited. Hewen was already leaving when a weak female voice called from within. "Please, come in," was all she said. They entered the house and found a middle-aged woman tending to a man lying on a straw pallet. She explained how her husband caught a fever 3 nights earlier and has grown worse as time passed. "I barely slept since," she said, tears gathering in her eyes. "I don't know what to do." Hewen approached and looked at the pale figure of a man. "If there is anything we can do, perhaps we can help." "Would you, sir?" The woman looked at him pleadingly, then at her man. "He needs a healer. I don't dare leave him alone," she added. "Do you know where we can find a healer? At the Temple of Tertanon, perhaps?" Hewen asked. "They wouldn't lift a finger to help us. Some ridiculous family feud between Hans's late father and the temple. They won't help us. Her words faltered. I'm sure we can find some way to help him. Perhaps there's another healer around the village or something, Hewin said reassuringly. We'll be back soon. The woman took Hewin's hand into her own. Pranor's blessings. Hewin nodded, smiling uncertainly, and they left and gently closed the door. Oh, good. There was a pause there, and I wasn't sure if it was going to do that, but it did add it to our journal. Hans, a man living on an isolated farm south of Romar, is gravely ill. His wife told us the Temple of Terratanon won't help due to some family feud, so we need to ask around the village if there is another healer who can help. Ooh. I wonder if Lynn, the girl who had the herbs, could help. Or barring that, perhaps the witch. Because I think... Let's see here. Yeah, see, this was written down as well. But, like, we didn't write down our interaction with Hans and him being a weapon master or a skill teacher. So why write this down and not that unless this was going to be relevant? So that's my guess there, is that maybe we need to go back to her. Let's explore around here a little bit. Anything else? There's the main road. Oh. What's around here? Hello. Looks like the entrance to a cave of some kind, Hewin said. Shall we go and have a look inside? Not yet. Not yet. Oop, stuck on a bush. Oh. Oh, I did climb a little bit there. That's just because of interacting with geometry. Hello, tent. Can click on that, but nothing happens. The tent seemed unoccupied. Shall we take a peek inside? Hewin said. Let's do it. Hewin opened the tent flap. The inside was damp and smelled musty, its owner probably long gone. Still, he searched inside in hope of uncovering something of interest. Ooh, and we found some rations, and a torch, and 7 leshen, which, okay, watch this over here. So 7 plus 4 is going to be 11. 6 and 1. Yep, there we go. So every time you hit 10 of one coin, it creates a coin of the next higher denomination. And this is a note. Retrieving it from his pack instead of his backpack, Hewin wondered what was written on the yellowed piece of parchment. Okay, you have to double click it. When you right click, okay, so that's important to know. If you right click on an item in your inventory, it gives you a description if you need to interact with it, which is probably how we do things like manually eat rations or light a torch. You have to double click it. The locals were all taciturn about the cave's whereabouts, but I found it anyway. I've cleared the brush surrounding the entrance and took a quick look inside. Sadly, I only have a few torches with me, and those fools in Romar won't sell me any, so I won't be venturing anywhere deep. Running out of light in there would be a death sentence. Thank goodness we have plenty of torches. Oh, why is there one and... Oh, they spoiled. Uh-oh. I was wondering why there were 2 stacks of 2 different kinds. Sam examined this pack of rations. While parts of its contents were still edible, the dried fruit was now moldy and the fish smelled terribly. He thought better than eating it. Can we drop it? How do we... Can't double click on it. We can't just drag it onto the ground, so I'm not sure how to get rid of it. Okay, but it took a long time for it to spoil, so... Alright, before we get too far away from town, I guess let's go back and see if that witch maybe will help us. We'll stop at the temple on the way and talk to Lynn if she's still there. Because they said that the priests wouldn't help, but Lynn is not a priest. We will come back to the cave, for sure. Alright, let's see if it's this character, since it wasn't Lynn at the temple. They knocked. For a moment, no one replied, and then a voice shouted from within, "You are not welcome here, child of Ulmaris. Go!" And Sam pushed at the door and entered. "We came because we need a healer," Ewan interjected. The woman raised one eyebrow in question. "And what makes you believe I am one?" Sam blurted, "Because you're a witch, aren't you?" The woman's gaze narrowed, studying them both for a long moment, then said, "What do you need?" Ewan recounted the details about the feverish man, and she prodded him for additional details, and after she was satisfied, she walked to the back of the house and rummaged through a shelf laden with pouches and earthen jars. "I may be able to help, but I require Balomane, Ormanis, and Harigo root." Ewan shuffled his weight from one foot to the other. "Those are hard to find." "Oh, you don't say," the witch snorted. "I may be a witch, but I can't just wish them into existence. Get me those herbs, and I'll see what I can do." Okay. Witch says she can prepare a cure for the feverish farmer, but she needs Balomane or Balomane. I'm going to call it Balomane. Ormanis and Harigo root. 3 fairly rare and expensive herbs. Just where am I going to get them? Alright. Balomane, Ormanis, and Harigo root. Well, yeah, I think that you're right. That the Ormanis is going to come from Lynn back at the temple. The Harigo root and the Balomane, we don't know enough about them. Don't really even know where else to ask or start looking. So first things first, let's head back to the Temple of Tertanon and see whether or not Lynn... Okay, fatigue. I was wondering if that was going to be a factor, and that's kind of why I hadn't camped yet. I want to see how long it took before they got tired. So, let's see here. Let's rest. Let's do... We don't need to heal. So let's do a cold camp. And let's do... Okay, when you are fatigued, your endurance starts decreasing. Makes sense. Okay. Works for me. Alright, let's start with one. Maybe if we get the Ormanis from Lynn, she'll have information on where to get the others. Here we go, healing herbs. I know this may sound a bit far-fetched, but we are desperate to find a number of very specific herbs to treat a feverish man. I mean, I know you have Ormanis, but we also require Balomane and Harigo root. Hawalia must favor you, because I carry all 3 on my person. But I must ask you, is that man in dire need? Oh good, so we don't have to go hunting. She's got them all. Let's say he's got 1 foot freezing in Alden Hale's snowy halls already. Without hesitation, Lynn reached for the bundle of Ormanis and snipped a few buds off the ends. Then she reached into her bag and purposely picked 2 small pouches supposedly containing the remaining herbs. Here, take these and don't delay. You can pay for them when you visit me in Ergendon. All right? Thank you, Lynn. May the gods favor you. Okay, well, that was a lot easier than I was worried it would be. Let's save it, see what our journal says. Lynn, a herbalist we met at the temple in Romar, gifted us the herbs required to heal Hans. We should take them to the witch. We should. Let's go. Yes, I quite like Lynn as well. She's like, listen, I can't give these to you for free, but I will give them to you on the honor system to save this man's life. Ah. Yeah, that stuttering is causing a little bit of camera jerking, too. Because I'm trying to, like you can see, I'm going so fast, I'm using the camera, the mouse look to steer. So, here we go. We have the herbs you asked for, Hewen said, producing 3 pouches out of his backpack. Good, she replied simply, took the herbs, then disappeared into the back of the room. A moment later, she returned with a very short, triangular, 3-legged stool, which she placed in the center of the room. She took a pinch from the contents of each pouch and ground it in a mortar, each time whispering some form of Arnai incantation Hewen had trouble understanding. She poured each powdered herb into its own little stone cup, which she placed in the corners of the stool. When that was done, she took a stone that resembled a snake head, and she circled it around the stool 3 times, uttering further incantations. Lastly, she poured the contents of each stone cup into another pouch and handed it to Hewen. It's done. Have Hans wear the pouch around his neck until the night Saluni lies dark in the sky, the witch said. I'll have the remaining herbs as payment. Hewen wondered how she knew the man's name, but decided not to ask. Thank you, he began, but the witch extended her arm towards the door. Good day to you, boys, she said, leading them out. Excuse me, but I have other things to attend to. All right. Let's go back to Hans. The witch prepared a herb powder, a charm, to help the feverish farmer down south. We should take it to his wife as soon as possible. Let's hope she didn't just trick us to get her those herbs. Like I said, I realize this is a European game produced by a European team, so I know it's like herb and herbalist, because of course in non-US English, y'all quite sensibly pronounce the H, as Eddie Izzard said. There's a fucking H in it. But you will probably hear me waffle back and forth between the 2 pronunciations. Just depends on how quickly and well I can read ahead when I am narrating. Yeah, I like the journal sound too. All of the sound effects are very crisp, very clean, very good. They are not overbearing. None of them are making me jump. They're not hurting my ears. One of them is not like noticeably louder than another one, to the point where it's uncomfortable or anything. So it's not just the sound, but also the sound balance is good. And here we go. They knocked, pushed the door open, and stepped inside. Hans was still lying on the pallet, his breath now ragged and his skin pale. His wife looked past them, saying, "Did you bring a healer?" Her hopeful expression clouded over when she saw they came alone. "We brought this." Hewen took a pouch from within his backpack, tied it with a leather cord, and handed it to her, repeating the witch's instructions. "Have him wear it around his neck until the night Saluni lies dark in the sky." She stared at the pouch in her hand and looked up at Hewen, saying, "But will it work? Who gave you this?" "A healer," he replied simply, then added, "Try to have faith, and do as I told you." As soon as the woman did so, the man miraculously opened his eyes, his visage turning to a healthier color. The woman gasped in surprise, and she hugged her husband fiercely. "Krondor see you," she exclaimed excitedly. Hewen took a deep breath in relief, as did Sam, who incredulously witnessed the amazing recovery that had happened before him. "The gods are indeed on your side, boys," she said, tears of joy flowing down her cheeks. "Please, stay a while. I'll give you a small parcel of silver. Prepare some good rations for the road. It's the least I can do for you. The least I can do for how you've helped us, or for the help you've given us." So that's a significant typo. That's the least I can do for help us. Ooh, yeah, she gave us some money. Yeah, for helping us. And a bunch of rations. 15, 20, none of them spoiled even. Get out. Out, damned rations. Hans the farmer miraculously recovered just instants after giving him the powder the witch prepared. I only wish I knew how to prepare such a powerful healing charm. Man, me too. Okay, now let's see. Was it over? No, it's down this way. Because we came out when we circled around their property down there. So it's, yeah. Here's the path off the main road. We gotta check out this cave, right? We have to. Yeah, that would be nice, because we did get the pop-up that told us what we had gotten from training with Hans. I would like to see the same kind of pop-up for quest rewards that said, like you said, like 5 silver, receive 2 rations, or, you know, they gave us 7 leshen or ocean, or, you know, whatever. Let's see. Okay, we are getting a little further south. We're making good progress, if not necessarily good time, just because I'm having so much fun exploring. Shall we have a look inside? We shall. Okay, let's light a torch. Ooh. Ooh, did you see that transition, though? That was... Oh. And look at that. It's flickering, too. So we actually have a light source, and it's not just, like, completely steady. Oh, I love that. Oh my gosh, there's moisture dripping from the caves. From the ceiling. The sounds are astoundingly good. Wow. Yeah, the stalactites. They are 2D sprites, like the trees. Ooh, I love that music. Listen at that. Very good, very tense. Ooh, left or right? Do they go to the same place? Yes, it looks like... Oh, is that a body? Uh-oh. Where there's a body, there's something that killed it. Ooh, that looks like a ruin or something. Okay, body first. 2 rations. 2 ocean and 3 leshen. Yeah, also freebies. Okay. Yeah, that looks like a ruin. That's probably what the guy was looking for. Let's peek over here and see. Ah, there's a pool, and we cannot go down into it. So this is a dead end, so we can only go this way. Oh, I like this, because this music is very... Ooh. Ooh? Question mark? There's a treasure chest. That guy died really close to it. Also, that I'm pretty sure that lit up as we approached. An ethereal voice reverberated in the chamber. Ti osmani kalani sieti postrunjon bez ti dumai. Urging Sam to put the knife he produced away, Hewin bowed in front of the shrine and signaled to his friend to do the same. Bez ti mene, Hewin whispered, then lightly placed his index and middle finger on his forehead. Sam awkwardly mimicked the motion. Bear 2 gifts for you, Osmani, the voice said in the common tongue, then after a moment of silence it spoke again. Your faith and devotion is commendable, so I bind to you and grant you my eternal favor. While you may not realize it yet, your need of me shall be great. We will meet again. Just as it came, the voice echoed into nothingness. So it's like fading in and out, like we're not hearing everything, it's getting cut off. Oh, this is a shrine, and we're paying obeisance to it. Like, did we just bind with one of the other gods? Is that how we unlock new schools of magic, like new spheres of magic? Hugh? What who was that? Closing his eyes, Huon took a deep breath and held it in. He let the newfound channel to the god of magic seep intoxicating power into his being. He drew it in, drank from it, made it part of him until the flow stopped and the balance was reached on both ends. Silmianis was his, and he was Silmianis's. At last he released that breath and uttered a short prayer. Silmianis, bestihime, yasti hasmentpe. Silmianis? You're talking weird again. The gods rarely come through this clearly outside of dreams, especially to those not versed in magic. You should be honored for this visit. Don't look at me like that, Hugh. You know godly affairs make me uncomfortable. And on top of that, I have no idea what just happened, so you better explain. What just happened is that Silmianis, the god of magic, has addressed us, and for some reason he's granted me his eternal favor. I can channel spells through him now. So I imagine that's one gift. What about the other one? The lack of respect for the gods will be your end, friend. One day, perhaps. At least now I know to stay clear of big holes in the ground. Can we go now? What's your hurry? Let's have a look around first. Ooh, okay. This is extraordinary. While exploring a natural cave near Romar, we discovered an ancient shrine dedicated to Silmianis, the god of magic himself. He spoke to me, to us, and he granted me his favor. Ooh, boy. Okay. This is really... Yep, there we go. It lit up. So that's what it is. We have to find shrines or temples or something, some way to connect with the gods to unlock different types of magic. Okay. I'll let all this sink in while I hydrate here. This is so cool because it really ties you to the world, and it has gotten me invested very quickly because this is such an interesting way to do magic. Like I said, if you've never read those David Eddings books, the Elenium and the Tumuli, if you have, you'll know what I'm talking about, where all sorcery is, generally speaking, standard magic, is effectively a form of prayer. You're borrowing spells or magic from the gods, and the incantations and hand motions are effectively a prayer asking them to do something for you, to perform a minor miracle. And that's what a spell is. You pull off the prayer correctly, and it draws the gods' attention, and if you have their favor, they channel their power through you and make the thing happen. So it sounds like basically here in Call of Saregnar, they're kind of doing that, almost like they're rolling the idea of wizards and clerics from Dungeons & Dragons together. So you get the gift of a god, you get their favor, and you become able to channel new types of magic. Oh, and there we go, Silmianis, a very simple sigil. Each line collected across. Oh, and it's mirroring this, I just noticed. So those are the glyphs of each god, and you can see the 8 dots. Okay, so we know what have we learned? So Bronur is the father of life. Alden Hyel is the herder god, but also the god of snowy halls or something, so he's like the god of the afterlife. Or maybe he was talking about Hans going to the snowy halls just because that's his patron deity and that's who he worships. So since he's a farmer, his soul would go to Alden Hyel. Agnosh, the lord of the day, so like the god of the sun. Saluni is the moon. We learned that when Saluni is dark. Silmianis, the god of magic. Perage and Vrage we don't know yet. Hawalia is the goddess of luck. Suvith we're not sure. Tertnon is the god of travelers. Sonar Zayam, or Zayam, Zim, not sure about. And Ulmaris, she called Sam, the witch called Sam, a child of Ulmaris. So I'm guessing that's like, since he's down here at the bottom and Bronur is the father of life, that's the god of death. or a god of the underworld, or a god of discord, bad luck, god of war, or something like that. So it could be that, or it might be like farmers rest in the winter because you have to work all spring, summer, and fall to sow, to tend, and to reap, right? So maybe winter is like a place of rest for the god of shepherds and farmers, because winter is the season of rest for those people when you have that profession. Let's look here. So here's the shrine itself, and we can click on it. The flame shone an unnatural light. Hewin examined the brazier and the strange heatless flame. An illusion, he said, as he passed his hand through it. Okay, so a magic fake flame. And then a treasure chest. And a dead end. Okay, so this is the whole cave. Yeah, that might be it too. That would actually be kind of cool. The hurting god may be the shepherd of the dead. If so, that's a really... I don't know that I've ever heard that particular mythology, which doesn't mean that it doesn't exist in the real world. It probably does, just because there are so many gods out there in the real world. But it's a very cool idea here in Saregnar. The chest was gilded and ornate, the wooden parts uncorrupted by the elements. Do we open it? Hewin said, licking his lips nervously. Well, we save it first. A scroll. I bet it teaches us our first Silmianis spell. Spell scroll, mind light. That's exactly what it is. Yes, okay. Hewin examined the magical scroll with care. The thick, coarse parchment was tied with a colorful ribbon held in place by a silver seal onto which a single word was written. Mind light. So we have an illusory heatless flame in the brazier behind us. I bet that's what this spell does. I bet it's your basic light spell. Maybe that's possible, Trance, actually, because otherwise why give it to you as an item, and why not just teach it directly to Hewin? So the fact, either that, or like in Betrayal and Antara and Might and Magic, you could get spell books and scrolls that would teach you a spell, and if you got duplicate copies, it was sometimes because that way you could find the spell in multiple places throughout the game, and then if you did find more than one copy after you learned it, you could sell the extras. So that could be it too. Well, let's learn this. Hewin untied the colored ribbon from the scroll and began to read. The incantation was rather complex, but eventually he committed the spell to memory. As if acknowledging his newfound knowledge, a cruel flame engulfed the scroll, turning it to ash. Yep. Oh, there we go. Hewin learned the Mind Light spell. There it is. Okay. I'm going to make another prediction. I'm guessing that each god offers one spell per, if not every segment, per major, like, large segment of their glyph. So that means Bronur here, because this is his glyph, probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and maybe 7, 8, 9 spells. At least 3 for sure. Probably 5, but possibly... Or 6, rather. I said 5. So at least 3, 4... Yeah, because 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe 6. Possibly as many as 9, because there are 9 segments in his glyph. Agnosh here, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm guessing. Because these lines go across and they don't connect to other segments, so these are iffy. Because I feel like they're quote-unquote outside the glyph. But then again, Silmianis, none of these lines like overlap except in the center. Is the only place they intersect, so it creates 8 even spaces. So I'm guessing Silmianis offers 8 spells. Mind Light, Anku et Mo, allows the caster and those nearest to him to see in the dark. Costs 5 endurance. So yep, it is a light spell. Awesome. Awesome. Awesome, 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 awesome. And this guy was looking for the shrine, I guess, and maybe wasn't properly respectful and got smote. And that's why his tent is unoccupied and he's down here dead. Should have been respectful. Sam, remember this. This is an object lesson. This passage leads out of the cave, Sam said. Ready to leave? They made their way out of the darkness. Yeah, that's also possible because he did talk about going in there without a light. Well, we don't have to worry about that ever again, do we? All right. Continuing on to the south, y'all watch, and of course there is a delay because it's Twitch. But keep your eyes peeled for treasure chests and things that I might miss. That is an NPC and they are moving. That is a character and they are walking around. They are not a static character model like they were in Antara. That is a 3-dimensional person who is walking around Might and Magic style. And we can click on them from as far away as right here. Ooh, okay. Okay, so combat's going to be way more like Might and Magic in terms of how we interact with the enemies out in the overworld. Ooh. A single enemy stood in the distance. While very unsure of his observations, he still believed they'd be facing a somewhat skilled opponent. Let's be swift about it and surprise him. This should be over soon, he said. They don't say who said this. Okay, so we are observing from a distance. Can we stay out of his line of sight and sneak up on him? Yes. Okay, now it says Sam. Okay, let's do it. Let's try to get the jump. Immediately he went first. Wow, this guy just 100% is not playing ball with us. At least he only dealt 2 damage. Let's go for... Can we get around... Yeah, 25 damage. Let's do it. Boom. Finish him off, Sam. Sam's not having a good time here. Let me rest again. Sam's turn. Okay, again, see, I didn't see a number for the amount of endurance that we got. Okay, I saw the bar go up, but I did not see a hovering notification. Sam stood in silence. Just moments before, the enemy was trying to kill him, and now that same enemy lay at his feet. He imagined the man rising and grabbing at him or crying out another "come on," but silence pervaded the battlefield. Today, he won the fight. Okay, I just wasn't looking up there. It went away really quickly because I think what's happening is if you do multiple actions, what I would really like is if they queued up here and then like when the top one faded, they would all move up or something. Because I think the reason I'm not seeing it, even though I was looking for it, is that I rested and then you get a notification when it becomes somebody else's turn. So like I rested, apparently up here it said Hewen recovers 3 stamina or something like that, but then immediately that message was displaced by Sam's turn. I think might be what's happening. Oh, wait a minute. Let me... Oh, yeah, that's fair because my branding is like floating over top of it. Okay, we're missing 3 HP. So that is my explanation for those of you who can't see the message up in the top because there are status messages. So that way you can see what's happening. 3. There we go. Let's see what this guy had. Oh, shit. He's got a short sword, which is great in case ours gets too beaten up. And some armor. Our first armor. Okay. Are these spoiled rations? No, okay, we just have 42. Well, food's not a problem right now. 3 of these rations have spoiled, however. I'm not sure how to get rid of those. Maybe we can sell them. Standard soldier armor, 20%. The kingdom-issued armor offered good protection for the foot soldier, consisting of a long gambeson, chestplate, a steel helm, and a large round shield. Okay, well, this is our melee guy, so let's give it to Sam. I'm not seeing a change in stats, so that's interesting. So our weapons tell us damage and accuracy, but the armor doesn't tell us how much damage it blocks. And I don't see the defense skill like going up or down when we equip it or anything. So I don't know what the armor does, which is, that could be something that's just not implemented in the demo yet. I saw... There it is. Okay, I actually saw the treasure chest before I saw the tent. The tent smelled badly. Hewin searched through the contents with disgust and gave up after a minute or so. Nothing in here, he said. Puzzle chest. I mean, that's fair. Sam is kind of a scamp, but... Scamp implies a certain type and level of mischief, a certain type of person. Sam is not a... Yeah, he's a rogue. He's not a scamp, he's a rogue. Very, very correct. So this is no ordinary chest. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. A rapscallion, if you will. A cad. A picaroon. A rake. I sit up high, I shine with the best. Wars have been fought to decide where I rest. Through bloodlines I travel, though move I do rarely. Heavy I weigh upon he who wears me. Gold? No. Okay, so we've got WRKC. Oh, you're right. Crown. Crown. Yeah, okay, yeah. I was on the right track with gold, but you got it first. Ooh, 4 ocean. Which means we now have 2 Savalon. Cool. Alright. Looking for more treasure in these little nooks and crannies. Hello, are you an interesting rock? Is there anything here? I mean, all rocks are interesting, but to be fair. Okay, so, oh, there goes our torch. That's fine. We should... see, I'm not getting... I'm quick saving, but I'm not getting a notification. So like I hit F5 and it's not coming up with a thing in the corner. So I can't confirm if it's doing it or not. Let's give Mind Light a try. Oh. Oh, that is not a light spell. That is a night vision spell, which is different. Okay. Okay. Well, let's go up this way. Can we... Okay, we can climb these slopes because we're meant to. Versus some of the other ones we've seen, we're not supposed to go up those slopes, so the game won't let us. It's invisible walls. What is this? Another shrine, perhaps? I get a feeling we're being watched. Yes, in a way. This was a temple once. A holy presence dwells within these ruins, but it is faint. Are we about to unlock another type of magic already? Like a god? Yes. If the temple wasn't desecrated but was simply abandoned, a god would still reside here. His influence, however, would have diminished substantially if those who prayed to him left. That's interesting. So it implies, like, the gods very directly need support from their worshippers in order to even be present in places, for the most part. Give me a moment. Hewen knelt on the marble floor and closed his eyes in concentration. After nearly an hour of Sam pacing back and forth, Hewen stood up, shaking his head. You call that a moment? What were you doing, anyway? I tried to contact him. He is a god, but his mind is so chaotic I was constantly losing hold. Perhaps if I stayed here for a day or two, I might get a better understanding of his nature. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she was having to chant to him in order to bring balance or whatever. To what end? I believe he's seeking help, but I can't figure out what he wants. If I could help him, we might get a favor in return. What do you say? Do we make camp? I mean, we have to. Feels like a waste of time to me, but I'm sure you know what you're doing. I'll go pitch my tent. Ha ha ha, I bet you will. 2 days have passed. During that time, Hewen spent day and night in deep meditation, taking no breaks to drink nor eat, while Sam attempted to wake him from the trance repeatedly, but to no avail. Resigning to the fact that it's better to leave Hewen in peace, Sam took care of the camp, foraged for food, and did whatever he could to keep boredom at bay. Finally, on day 2, Hewen awoke with a cough. Sam ran to him and helped him to his feet. Hugh, are you all right? How long was I out? ASMR for gods. I love that. Oh, man. 2 days. I was ready to knock you out of it with a club, but thankfully you woke up first. 2 whole days. I swear it felt like an hour and a half at most. So, learned anything in your little adventure? Not much, to be honest, and I'm struggling to make any sense out of it. The god I spoke to, or at least what remained of him, was so fragmented and incoherent it proved nearly impossible to understand. However, even though I wasn't able to learn his purpose, I learned his name. Tevon Drosh. It's certainly not one of the greater 18 we know of today, but I have the feeling he was an important deity at the time of the Arnai. The day before yesterday, you said he was seeking help? Indeed. He is seeking his long-lost identity. Great, so we're dealing with a forgetful god. I suppose we don't get any reward out of this, do we? No, but if we find out who this god was, learn his history, I'm sure he'll be thankful. Priests could know something about him. Indeed, and if they don't, the library at Suvith is sure to hold the answer. Okay. Got reduced endurance here as well. That makes sense. We're probably going to have to rest anyway. Have any rations spoiled during this time? No. Okay, so it looks like it was magical time passage. Let's cast Mind Light again. Ah, hello. Another riddle. Everyone stares at me in the morning. Although I stare back, I see nothing of thee. Similar we are when you gaze upon me. Be with me too long, and you'll end up lonely. Stares at me in the morning. I stare back but see nothing of thee. A mirror? There is an M. Well, you're on top of it, Trance. You got it about the same time that I did. Great minds and all that. Yep, there we go. Mirror. Ooh, 7 Ocean, 9 Leshen. Very nice. Okay. Is there treasure behind this waterfall? No. Okay. Not that we can find, anyway. It's weird. We find these, like, dead campfires or fire pits or whatever you want to call them. You can click on them, but they don't do anything. They just make a noise like you're interacting with them. The game's acknowledging that they're there, but... Yeah, we had to put our big Bryans to use on that one, huh? Okay, on this way then, I guess. I don't want to go, like, we're far enough from the temple that I don't want to go all the way back to the temple to talk to those priests. I would rather go on to Suvith, wherever it is, and we'll see what we can find there. Just because I want to keep making forward progress. And it's also important that we leave some mystery. So, like, if we don't solve that, of course, in this video or in this stream, then no harm done. I'm gonna follow... Oh, invisible wall. Okay. Ah. Oh, here we go. This road leads south towards Avonmore, but I think this is as far as Dina will allow me to go in the demo. All right. So we got to the end of it, but that's what a great way to come to the end of it. I know what you mean. She can be mean like that. Oh, Dina. Okay. Well. So this is as far south as we can go. And that's as far north as we can go, is just right outside of Romar. So maybe. That's what I'm going to try, Trance. Let's go back. I'm going to go to the Temple of Tertanon and see, since we can't go any further south towards Suvith and what have you, let's see if they do know anything about this god. Okay, some rest. Yes, let's have some rest. Oh, I hit C for camp instead of R for rest. Cold camp. Let's rest until daybreak. Yeah, we did not get a journal entry. That may be because we cannot complete this quest in the demo, perhaps. And so they just didn't bother. Bodies are persistent. Let's see. Does anyone know? Nope, doesn't look like it. Okay. So, it appears then that is the end of the demo. We've done everything that we could do. We have traveled as far north as we could from Romar, and we've traveled as far south as we could from Romar. And this right here, this little section, that is a pretty good chunk of terrain for a demo to show off what the game's going to look like, how it's going to feel, how it's going to operate. Yeah, this was a good demo, honestly. And yeah, no, I feel like that's very good timing. I'm really pleased with this. I think that the demo gave me everything that I wanted. I got a good look at the UI. I got to see everything that I liked. I got to see all of the features that I would want in a game like this. And we got to see enough of the world and explore some different environments. Like we got to see the insides of shops and houses. We got to see the inside of a cave, so like a sub-level or mini dungeon. We got to see temples. We got to see, like that we had the little experience with the Shrine of the Lost God. We got to see combat of a couple different kinds. Like we got to sneak up on an enemy who was wandering around in the overworld. And also then we got ambushed by a scripted story encounter. It was very satisfying. I'll say my favorite moment in this was definitely finding the Shrine of Sirianus, or Silmianus, because that was very exciting. That felt really good. And I can tell that this game is it's gonna do well. This is gonna be a great game. It's already grabbed me. I'm very invested. I hope that y'all are too after watching this and being here with me, which thank you for that, by the way, especially since this is a much longer video than I usually do in one sitting. And I'm not going to cut it very much. So it's going to come in at around 4 hours on YouTube as well. So if you're watching on YouTube, thank you. If you made it to the end, thank you for being here. But out of everything that I did, the little step and fetch it quest with Hans running back and forth to Romar, that felt good, but predicting how this was going to work and seeing the shrine and then being like, oh, is this how we unlock new magic? Like, and then being right. So I feel like being able to successfully predict a lot of what this demo is showing us is, in my opinion, a mark of really good, thoughtful game design, because as someone who grew up playing a lot of games that reflect this, that this is inspired by, I am looking at those games and going, okay, given what we see here on our screen, here's how I would do it as a fan of those games, as someone who loves those. If I was going to update it, here's how I would do it. So being right tells me that the people who are making this game are also fans of those games and they're having the same thoughts. And that's really comforting, because that means that the game is going to feel good to play. And yeah, exactly, Trans. Good design is intuitive. And I think that they have intuited some very good design. The UI is very simple, very minimal. I like what I can see. There's very little I'm not seeing that I miss that I would want to see. I think this is great. So far, really solid, like 9.75 out of 10. And the only thing that I would want from this is obviously there are some typos, of course. That's something that you expect from a demo, and hopefully they will go over the script and the text with a fine-toothed comb as much as they can, because again, remember, this is a 5-person dev team, and making a game on this scale is a huge endeavor. So they need all the support they can get. I recommend that you head over, and give them that support for sure. I'm going to be watching out for this, and I'm definitely going to be playing the full game on release, and I cannot wait. But I saw some typos. I would like a combat queue. Yeah, as you said, old man, a combat queue, or at least I would like for the tooltips to stack up over here in this corner so that I can see them and not have them override each other. So have multiple lines, like 3 to 5 lines of actions. And the only other thing that I want is pop-ups for quest rewards, the same way that when we went to Hans and it came up and told us what changes had been made to our stats, I would want a tooltip or pop-out window that said, hey, you saved the farmer, here are 5 ocean and 20 rations. Oh, and then I have a question. I don't know that it's not a complaint or criticism, but that is, how the hell do I get these spoiled rations out of my inventory? Because I've tried dropping them, I've tried double-clicking them, right-clicking just gives you a description. I do not know what to do with the spoiled rations. And I don't know what my armor does. And maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it's not in here because we got this as a reward for completing the last combat encounter in the game, and therefore this has no mechanical effect in the demo, because the guy dropped the armor. So it wasn't like it was in the treasure chest. We could have snuck around, picked it up, put it on, and then worn it in the fight with the bandit. We got this from killing the bandit, therefore there's no way that this could be productive or useful in the demo. So maybe that's why is armor might not be fully implemented yet or something, or it just doesn't matter. And so on the demo version of the armor, they did not put that in the description, but I would like to see what the armor does, because seeing what the weapons do is great. And I really like the way they've done the ranged weapons with no ammo and stuff. That's good too. So this is awesome. This is awesome. So definitely check the links in the video description. Go give these devs your support. I'm going to give them mine. And I can't wait to play the rest of Call of Saregnar. I hope y'all will be there with me. So I'm taking a week off after this, And then I will be back the following Thursday, hopefully if all goes well, with the new content for Titan Quest. And y'all better appreciate it because I have to manually play through all of Epic difficulty in order to unlock Legendary. So I'm playing the whole game again for you. So just know that. And if it takes too long, if I can't get there in a couple weeks, I'll let you know, and maybe I'll do something else, like another short game on Thursdays to tide us over until we can get to Titan Quest. So I'll keep you abreast. Make sure that you are following on Twitter for updates about that as we go forward. And of course, thank you for following and subscribing here on Twitch, or if you're watching on YouTube after I upload this, I'm going to start a Call of Saregnar playlist, and this video will be the only one on it. So please like and subscribe or add that playlist, turn on notifications and so forth, and when the full game comes out, I will definitely be playing it, and we will tack on with another video there. And if you feel like it, if you're going to head over to Patreon and support Call of Saregnar anyway, then, while you're there, we have a Patreon too. If you feel like it, and you're already on the website, it's like you go to the store, you're in the aisle, you see something you want, you're there for, it's okay to have two nice things. So, I'll see you for the next stream, whether that's Baldur's Gate on Saturday or more of the Legend of Dragoon with Specific Pixel on Monday. But until then, as always, thanks for playing.